Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Hello, folks. Welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just ready to talk about a lot of interesting things from this past week. What's up with you, man?
Not too much. Watching playoff basketball off to the side. I'm trying to let my eyes not get too much diverted from the lecture at hand. But yeah, just watching basketball. Watched a lot of wrestling, and we'll have to watch more wrestling to give us a midweek podcast we'll do later in the week. We're going to try and hit on Duntaku and Noah stuff and AAA, Triple Mania and stuff. But we got a loaded show, so we felt like we needed to break it down. Otherwise, we're going to be here forever, and we ain't really had the time for that this time.
We ain't built like that.
Time. Not no more. But yeah, where do you want to start first?
Man, I think the Ember Moon stuff would be a great place to begin.
Okay.
So Ember Moon did a interview with Chris Van Vliet where she talked about her experience in WWE. Obviously, she's no longer with the promotion. There was like a clip that came out, which everyone kind of gravitated to, as she was breaking down her kind of like her last 3 or 4 months there. She made it known that there were these talent meetings, one, she was getting jerked around a lot back and forth, as far as hey, this is what we plan to do with you. Wait a minute. That's actually not what we're going to do. Hey, we actually need you to do this. Never mind. That's canceled. We're going to send you home. We're going to turn you heel, maybe, not sure. We're going to have you do a match, lose. There's a storyline for you. Don't worry about it. Oh, wait a second. Vince wants you to completely step in the time machine and do your old look from 2017, dye your hair yourself, put your contacts back in, and then we'll send you home. And eventually, she was not happy with the direction of the promotion, something that we've kind of called attention to, with the talk of it being the diva stuff that was always going to creep back in, and then it has kind of risen on social media through certain advocates for these things. But she ended up basically talking about a couple of things as far as the direction now with meetings that were being run that were encouraging the wrestlers to kind of dress in a more revealing, be more revealing with the ring gear, more of the sexy stuff. And, to quote her, it was she was, it was some booty butt cheek mandate or something like that. And essentially people were being encouraged to look like Mandy Rose. And a lot of people got upset at that part of it. And it was wasn't the whole point of this thing.
And to those people that did get upset of her dropping the name, I would suggest that you watch the whole part of it, because like she later comes right behind and cleans it up, and like the very next sentence it says like, I love Mandy, nothing wrong with Mandy, but there's only one Mandy. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I think before that she even said like, my thing is to appeal to kids, not that. Mm-hmm. So she wasn't just saying like, she wasn't trying to be some like second wave feminist. Like she was like, no, there's space for all of that stuff. It's not for me. This wasn't just like, that's her thing, not mine.
And we've seen what 2.0 looks like pretty much with, just everything on your timelines every week, with this wrestler wants to have sex with this wrestler, and it's like a lot of people are like real into it. Of course, they're real into Nikita Lyons or into Lash Legend or into several of the other people, some of the people that are no longer with the promotion even. But the thing that really like struck on me was the sexiness being mandated corporately, which was like, I was like, man, it's a whole lot less sexy in that case. You got Toxic Attraction running over the show, and people were so upset about Nixon Newell or whatever, her name was in WWE. Tegan Knox. Yeah. Talking about, hey man, it's like they're on some diva shit, and they got pissed at that. And I think it is miraculous that Becky Lynch gave that interview that she gave last week, and then like just thing after thing just kept coming out, like to just fly in the face of this. And it was like, this company is the same company it always was. Like these fake postures of like, what they do for women and stuff like that. It's like, this is a show written by old white men that is attracting old white men. I know you can't help who your audience is sometimes, but it's quite clear like on what's being going for. Like the playbook is the playbook that has been there for years and years and years, and it always goes back to this. And I don't know why people are acting like brand new with this, as far as like, no, not our WWE that actually cares about women and all this stuff. Like, no, man, like this is always what it is. Like you see like what people look like when they go to the main roster, when they've gone to the main roster, from their days in NXT. I'm not going to put any names on it, but people who look quite differently. Like they wouldn't be telling Ronda Rousey to do these things. But everyone else, like, you're subject to have to fall into this thing. And it's like, while they put up these graphics with 24 names on them, some that weren't even with the company by the end of the week, saying they've been used, and this is, this positive thing and all that. It's like, man, what about like the tangible like actions? Like you saw 24 women on screen. Like what were they doing? Like what does anybody care about anything? And it's a lot of fake posturing, fake weaponization of those things. So when like the real stuff that's supposed to be important kind of goes under the radar, and then you have this stuff that pops up that just shines a light on the corny ass shit a lot of people try to ride for out here. And it sucks because like Ember Moon was like, she wasn't my favorite wrestler or anything. Like I thought she should actively have been banned from speaking into a microphone most cases, but she's telling you what it is, like, and telling you about her experience. It wasn't like she was saying, hey, I felt this about this. It was like, no, this is what happened. And then of course everyone jumped back at her pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing how like from Swole to now her, like, or anytime anybody says anything, or any black woman says anything, like they quick to jump on it. Like it's really interesting how that works. I mean, you can tell by what was going on in the programming, or you can tell exactly the specifics. But like she brought, it illuminates, right? It illustrates just as how far they want to go that way. And like for me personally, I think that like it's kind of obvious that should not be said to any of the talent. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't be. Like, but I do get that it is a cosmetic business and blah blah blah. Go from there wherever you want to. My thing is like, if they tell a good story, if they're good characters, if they have good matches, the aesthetic stuff is secondary or could be secondary, but
not here.
They don't exactly. They don't see it that way. So like it's unfortunate. It sucks that she had to go through that, and like especially given that I remember her interview up talking about I think it was a Booker T, talking about like her coming back from her Achilles tear and how like she did not think that she had so many doubts about whether or not she was gonna be able to wrestle again, and to see her go from that to like, I want out of here. And like, what was that? It's been what, a year? Has it even been? She came back October 2020? October 2020. It hasn't even been 2 years. She's already like, get me the fuck out of here, or not necessarily get me the fuck out of here, but like, don't call me on no bullshit no more. In 2 years,
they wanted to make her a coach, damn near, and then she went into this thing about like, I don't want to be a coach or whatever. And then you think about Ember Moon, I think she's like maybe 33, maybe. And then like you start thinking about like her shelf life, and she's like, man, y'all trying to put me out to pasture like for these people that don't love this shit the way I do or whatever. Yeah. And you got to feel for somebody like that has pride in themselves, and regardless of like how it may have gone, it's like, she still was trying to give herself to this company, and she was like pitching ideas that like when I heard them, they sounded like so actively like cliched and like I'm gonna go on a losing streak to snap and all this stuff, and I'm like, it's nothing revolutionary, but like her heart was in it, so it was like,
and she was putting like, by her doing it, she'd be putting people over in the process,
right? So it was,
and the people she was probably gonna be wrestling would be people she was way better than in the ring, right? To prop up.
Yeah, it was kind of it kind of set off like some people said that this was one of those, hey, she kicked the door in a little bit on that, and you would think this stuff would in an era where people are so normally sensitive about anything that has to do with women's wrestling. I thought it would be even louder, the reception, like to actively champion like what she's saying, but nope, not here today. The news was there, pretty much gone after that. But I think she shined a light on people was quiet like church mice, exactly, in the comments, and it's unfortunate. It's not going anywhere. She was not the first. She will not be the last that's going to talk about this.
Yeah.
But it's on you as a listener or someone that's listened to this show to make the choice whether you're going to forget this or not. So,
yeah. So more negative stuff around WWE NXT. In a week where let's get to this. Ember Moon was cut, so they also had some NXT cuts. They cut a few people. Two most notable were Dakota Kai and Malcolm Bivens, aka Stokely Hathaway, or Hathaway. Stokely Hathaway is somebody that should have never had to go to NXT. Should have been, more or less doing the job that MVP is doing, or for someone else. It just makes no sense that someone that talented, that witty, that funny, that charismatic, is not on TV to do or is on developmental to do a talking role. Like, that dude's money, or let me phrase that dude is quality. And for all of the people that are bad at dialogue and bad at talking and get, a lot of drivel, he's somebody that could have came in and helped them out and helped their TV situation and got heat for some of the heels that needed it. and which, you know, I don't know how many heels need heat in WWE. Fucking heat.
They don't believe in
but at the same time, he could have been funny. He could have popped people, and eventually he could have turned babyface, all that kind of stuff that, you know, that goes with it or whatever else. But Vince has long not liked managers, and you know, the stuff that they said they wanted to offer him sounded less than appealing. If I were him, like, you want me to manage Omos? Nah, bro, they ain't gonna work.
Bro, they took 2 years to get him to television alone.
Yep.
I have, like, you guys know, I was not watching NXT during the, you know, like, ever since pretty much AEW came around, the pandemic. I never watched this guy on TV, but I saw him on Twitter, and it was like, this guy's fucking hilarious.
Exactly.
So, like, knowing he has, like, past with a lot of people in AEW, MJF, Orange Cassidy, he's like all in that Evolve scene. You think he's gonna obviously be a no-brainer in a company filled with managers.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you ain't got nothing for this guy, like, and good on him for being like, you know what, I'm not re-signing with you guys, because why? And obviously they didn't really have anything. They started messing up his unit pretty much from the beginning, that they gave him the Diamond Mine stuff.
We'll get more to Diamond Mine in a minute.
Yeah, we will. So let's go through the list. So we got, in addition to Malcolm Bivens, we got Dakota Kai.
Let's stop there. We got to go longer on Dakota Kai. We got to. Dakota Kai, for any of y'all that have listened over the years to my reviews of NXT, I have long always said that she was a fucking geek. I said that talking about how she was presented on television. I'm saying this, and I'm saying this slowly so that people that are in our Social Suplex thread that think that, like, I don't like this woman, so they hear me and finally hear me fucking good. She is a very talented wrestler. She bumps like crazy. She has good strikes. She could sell her ass off. She's a good wrestler. She was not presented as the top of the line future champion thing. She never was. She was always somebody that would get beat or be a stepping stone or whatever else. And she had a couple storylines where it looked like she might have a glimmer of hope, but it was like, you look at the decisions in her matches. That will tell you where she's headed. So when she's been champion or tag champion in NXT, women's tag champion in NXT, you look at, like, it was for Raquel to get elevated along the way till she break through to become NXT Women's Champion, which happened, right? They had the feud after that where Dakota turned on her. Raquel probably dropped her ass on the mat and pinned her. So
remember when she got turned into a punk by Shayna?
Yes, I did. Multiple times, not just once, maybe not even just twice, like 3 times. And I was like, yeah, that's not what it's meant for. She's stepping stone heel or stepping stone babyface or whatever else, and that's fine. But people saw this thing where she's gonna be next Bayley, not so much. Was she talented enough to have done that in NXT? Maybe, probably. But that's not what they were going for with her, and that's kind of what it was. Now, as far as her talent, she's somebody that I think could have been of great use years ago for the main roster, to be basically slotted in the same way she was slotted before, in the same roster positioning on the main roster, where she comes out and she has quality matches with heels and has a good effort and loses, and then it just basically has like a number 4 type of baby face. They never want her to show up there. They saw a better use for her. Similar to Candice LeRae in NXT, having quality matches, quality storylines, and quality feuds, and all that kind of stuff with the Biancas, the Ios, the Shaynas, and the Rheas and Raquels of the world. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun watching her over these years in NXT. And it worked for me. I would love to see her in AEW. I think for me, if I was looking at the landscape of people that are native English speakers, around the world with some credibility or some TV time, whatever else, she's somebody that I would pick up almost immediately. I'd be out here already trying to, you know, send some, you know, through the grapevine, send, you know, somebody
sure
else.
She's got friends that are already there that can get the word. Like, you know, if I know anything about TK, if he wants to get in contact with you, he'll find a way.
So let's continue on with the rest of the list.
So Dexter Lumis.
Dexter Lumis, a person that was always featured.
He fucking overachieved like hell. Like
overachieved.
Like you would think, bro. Like when you lay his gimmick out on paper and think about the kind of like the landscape that he was in, right? You would think that it would just be get the fuck off of my television. Now, from some people that you know, that is the case. Like, shout out to my man Dan. But I think Lumis carved out a tiny piece of real estate that
is my phone's too bright. Go ahead.
It's bright. Yeah, I think he carved out a little bit of real estate with some of the straight man comedy he was doing, and it was like, yeah.
Dylan, what is this?
Big Dex.
Dylan, what? Hey, man, what? What?
You playing in this comment section?
Yeah. So, why are you trolling us? Why are you trolling us in our comment section?
Might regulate, you know, but I think he carved out.
Dex is like, Dexter Lumis.
Yeah, I think he carved out like a little weird piece, like of real estate with people that ended up liking him. And
I think people ironically liked him. I don't think they really liked him.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong, and obviously, you know, like, it's one thing when it's like, you've been on this show fucking forever, and, like, it's the same people you see every goddamn week that, like, you know, the same people that'll boo, you know, Wesley and Carter, you know, Nash Carter. So it's like, they can get over or hurt whoever they want to. So, like, maybe they like them or whatever else, but, like, dude, we saw some of them house shows. Like, we saw some of the stuff he could do, and then we would see what the matches would be, and some of the goofy stuff in lurching, slow, you know, like early '90s Undertaker-esque stuff they had him doing. It was like, yo, who will actually want to see this in 2000? You know, in the 2020s, and like they transitioned later and made him a comedy guy. And that's cool that they made him a straight man comedy guy. That's just cool, whatever else. But like, that's, you know, that's basically them adjusting after they like tried to do something with him, and people were like, nah, this shit sucks. So yeah, man, like I look at like what Gargano was doing with him and everything, and I'm just like in indie, and you know, the whole thing led to the marriage, and now like the marriage is done with it. It's like, what a fucking waste of time. Like, whatever. I guess it popped the rating at one time when they did it. Gargano's gone. Candace is gone.
Imagine, James, like, imagine caring about this promotion as long as you did. Bro, how does it feel? Like you see what they were doing. Like when I gave up on this shit, I was like, look, man, this shit, like when I started getting discouraged.
But I told you this shit sucked while it was happening. Once I was like, oh, this might be okay. I told you, I was like, nah, man, this Dexter Lumis shit sucks.
Man.
Every week, remember I was like, every week when he was gone, I was like, oh my God, it's so much better he's not. And then he came back, I was like, God damn it, it sucks. Like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, so I get where you're coming at, but it's like it wasn't like I was like, yeah, maybe Lumis got some. No, I never said that.
Yeah,
like in fact, I think I hated more of these matches more than people that actually watched the shit along with me at the time.
You probably did. Yeah, he was. I think he is on that list, kind of with like the Karrion Kross, him, when you just started seeing things on the show where it was like, nah, man. And it was out of that kind of, you know, when he got hired, you know, they were trying to scoop as much talent as possible. We've all seen the people that they hired in that time period. He may be one of those, because it never really quite made sense. It was like, yo, I think they brought him in when he was like 35. They brought him in before they were really bringing in like people from Impact. I think he did like on a personal achievement level, he did about it. He maxed out here. I feel like he couldn't have done any better. Like he could have went to the main roster. Like they could have put him on the main roster or whatever. He could have did all the goofy and maybe it catches or whatever with the wackiness or whatever. But
they should have brought him up immediately and put him with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. Like he got to hang around for a lot longer than a lot of these people that's on this list, which kind of leads to my next point about their scouting and them just being pretty generally awful at it. So let's go through the rest of this list because the rest of these people aren't quite, they don't really have enough to analyze about them, I feel like. So we got Harland, which is the guy that they were calling the next Brock Lesnar guy, and then they shaved his head and made him a goon. Apparently, he didn't have great reviews with the performance center coaches. Pretty lazy individual and not really, really going after it. Persia Parado was an active storyline with Dexter Lumis, where they were competing couples, something like that.
Yes, over like who was a hotter couple or some shit like that. Yeah. She'll be Steph DeLander again. And then a gentleman named Draco Anthony. I remember when we heard that name, that was just like, all right, who'd he sneak it? Like he snuck this by, and it's hilarious that he snuck this by. And that man used to come out and he do the mellow shit. Is like, hey, your name Draco. How did you get this through?
Yeah. We got Sanjana George, Raylan Devine, who I believe was like 6'3" or something like that. James, do me a favor. Type in Raylan Devine on in your Google search, please.
In Google search, okay.
And it is RAELYN and then Devine.
All right.
Right now, we're waiting for James's reaction.
Okay, Instagram popped up. Should I click on the Instagram? Okay, I see why you. Sent this to me.
So they cut that young lady. They also cut Mila Milani and Paige Prinzivali. So I don't know, man. They have this thing now that Triple H kind of like alluded to in his interview with The Athletic. Like they're figuring it out. Like, if they have people, they're going to give them less time than they normally give them. And they can tell if you're getting it in like a month or 2 months, maybe 3 months at the max. Like it's like this 90-day thing, right? I don't know if it's just me. That sounds like a great way to lose out on talent that might actually like turn into something. If you're like, 3 months, I don't see shit. Holla. Like, I don't know, man, because how many stories do we hear about people that are absolutely like just clueless at the beginning and it takes them a little while. And these people are getting like thrown into like, it's weird because they're not really being trained to be professional wrestlers. Like they're being trained to be on a TV show where they do some wrestling like at times. Right. Yeah. And, if you're not someone with like this family pedigree, like a Braun Breaker, and I think there are concerns about Braun Breaker, but him being the concern, he's not the concern. It's like he just has to do this more, right? Mm-hmm. But these other people that show up, I don't know how you just go through and cut and decide to devote resources to people for like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, like Harlan was around, and for like less than half a year. And it's like you decide, nah, I'm good. That seems like a waste of time, a waste of money. And also like they're eventually bound to like, I think they would be more likely to lose a star than gain a star doing this.
It's a okay.
And
so
I know it's a crapshoot. It's a draft.
It's a talent versus culture thing. Right.
Because it's like, who knows? These people might not be necessarily the problem or whatever. Like, if they take their ass to the QT Marshall, like, somebody might show up and, like, show aptitude. But, like, I don't feel like 3 months is enough to throw somebody out like, you know what, we're done here.
Right, and I don't know, like, the Harlan dude, like, was he already a wrestler?
No, he was a football player at UCF.
Okay, so giving anyone 3 months to be good at wrestling and then cutting bait on them is, like, absurd to me. If that's the case, if that is what the situation is, where, like, they signed this dude, they gave him X amount of months, and then pan out, they cut him. It's like, who the fuck is good in 3 months besides someone with a background in, like, in catch wrestling or freestyle wrestling? Like, who?
Because this list could have been like 10 other people or whatever besides Dakota Kai, Bivens, and Loomis, and everything after that could have literally been a different batch of people. And who knows? Like, I don't know, man. It seems like a really bad strategy, almost like they're bad at this.
Yeah. Another thing is, like, one of the defenses I hear from people talking about, like, when they cut, like, the people that could have been the vets to help foster the new talent over. Or when they talked about, like, the old NXT compared to NXT now, was like, yeah, you guys don't, they talk about, football players, people with athletic backgrounds compared to, like, the wrestlers that, made on the indies or whatever else. Is like, you don't think they should they shouldn't just, like, take all the projects as opposed to taking, some of the, the, let's say, if you will, like, the fourth year and third year, college players. And it's like, there's only so many of those you're going to take before all you got is nothing but bus. And if you keep piling all these busts around, like, what you going to do? How is the people that actually have some aptitude to do this in the future, how are they going to get better if there's not anybody to keep putting skin on their head as they keep going along this thing? Like, it's just their
problem is they live in extremes. Like, as far as like the black and gold era of NXT went in one direction, they seemed determined to take this in a whole different direction. It's like, why don't we, like, try to, like, what's that fusion dance? They say, like, do this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like, I feel like there's gotta be better ways. And they bring up a couple interesting things in the comments. It's like, almost like, this show shouldn't be on national television anymore. Like, almost.
Like, I mean, this shit should have been done once. Honestly, whatever. I'm not gonna go down the NXT fuck up list again. I'm fucking weary. But, like, it's just like, it's developmental. And look, I'm not. If whether it's on national TV or not, like, they're gonna keep it on and keep trying to make that money until they cancel it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. I think a lot of people eating crow about NXT 2.0 that were real loud when this whole thing started. And I think it's like, obviously, like, from a show standpoint, it's not really moving the culture, I would say, in a positive direction as far as it's not really making an impact and doing anything. Obviously, we saw business wise, they flopped over WrestleMania weekend. They drew, like, around 3,000. Like, when I hear people talk about this is better,
it was under 4,000. So.
Yeah, it was. This is better. Like, this proves this is some type of success. I'm like, how? There's literally no, like, metric or anything that you can show that NXT 2.0 has been successful at all. Yeah. Like, tons of people are getting fired. They're not drawing. The ratings have collapsed. And it has a general vibe of just like people have talked about. It's like, it feels like the new generation era. People have talked about it being like just this clueless thing that echoes other points of developmental history, like when the Basham brothers were there and Cornette says, hey, or they're feuding against each other. They call them up as a tag team, make them cut their hair and all this shit. Like, there's all these stories like that feel like they're all amalgamating it into one with NXT 2.0. That is like just like a culmination of the demolition that started when Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard made an innocent trip to the PC, where everyone was said to be in generally good spirits last summer, and that was a positive for the company. It's almost like that was spin, because everything that's happened after that, yikes, fucking yikes.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like, so speaking of that, and speaking of like the kind of morale and the mood that this company or this promotion brand is in, Roderick Strong has apparently on multiple occasions asked for his release, and he is not getting it. And it's quite predictable he was not getting it, seeing that he is, he apparently signed on to a new contract in with it sometime in the last 2 years.
I think last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year. It stinks. Same as anybody else that wants to leave. It stinks. And like going back to the Ember thing, talking about the issues or whatever else, is like everybody. It seems to me like between Gargano, between O'Reilly, between Ember, between a few other people that were NXT people, talents, they all keep saying it. Like, this shit is totally different without Triple H around. And there's no direction, there's no nothing, there's no one to talk to try to get real clarification. And they're all getting frustrated. And also so many of their friends, because they were NXT, they're all over in AEW, and I'm sure they're getting reviews or watching AEW, and they're like, Jesus Christ, like, they're doing what NXT used to do and better. And like, that has to be frustrating to see and to know, like, this is what we used to do, this is what we do now, this is what I could be doing. Get me the fuck out of here now.
There's no wrestler, and I think it's important to say this, right? Because there was a lot of, I think, working around the brand of NXT and legend building of it, right? There is not a single wrestler, I don't care who they are, that went around the world for years, that did everything you had to do to make it to WWE and wanted to be in NXT forever.
Right.
They don't exist. Like, they all want to get to like Raw, SmackDown, which is the money or whatever, or now AEW now, because they see like, yo, we don't do all this to like wrestle in front of this same fucking crowd in Florida every week. Like, yeah. As far as Roddy goes, and that being like a reflection of like, things being different with Triple H, just like, damn. Not only is it different under Triple H, like the whole fucking staff back. The only person I can think of that's still there is like Shawn Michaels.
Right. Maybe Albert's still there. Matt Bloom.
Yeah, him too.
Like in maybe Norman Smiley.
Right.
But like
Terry Taylor.
Okay, so there's a few like
Political
the coach
Shark.
So like the coaches are still there, right? But like as far as like. I don't think is Sarah Ray there anymore. I don't think she is.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's or maybe I'm thinking of what's her name? She was Dark Angel in Stardom. Fuck, what's her name? Can't remember her name for the life of me. Somebody will pull it up. Dellen, she was Dark Angel in Stardom. She was the second white belt champion. I can't remember her name, but she was she got cut like in the last year or so too. But anyway, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because it's all we all saw. They were all leaving. We were all like, he gonna be stuck, left behind. And then like they gave him Diamond Mine, and Diamond Mine like never even got to launch with the original roster that was set. They fired his wife, or at least the mother of his child. I don't remember if his wife or not, but like fired her. They were gonna have Hideki Suzuki, and fucking he was gonna be the coach. They fired him. Arturo Hua was supposed to be in it. After they tried to package in multiple things, and it made all the sense in the world for him to be in it. and they got rid of him too. And then they started to launch. They end up putting those two brothers in there, and those two brothers like fit the Dynamite thing or whatever else, and the Ivy Nile woman, and like with Bivens, they made the most of it. But now like Bivens is gone, right? Bivens didn't want to resign, so they finally fired him, and it's like, all right, why would he want to stay here? Everybody he wrestled, everybody like, do you think Roderick Strong at what? How old is Roderick? What, late 30s?
Yeah, he's got to be like 37 at least.
Why would he want to be a coach? He's still one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Roderick Strong age. Roderick Strong is 38. He will be 39 in July.
Bro, why in the world would he... Yeah, Sarah Stock, that's who it is. Yeah. Why in the world would he want to be stuck being a developmental coach? Ciampa just left. He didn't want to be a developmental coach. Gargano did it for like a year, and so did all these guys did it for like a year, and they were like, enough. Like, I want to like have these good matches with other good people where I can still do this in front of these like crowds that we can still do this in front of. O'Reilly left, Fish left, Cole left, Gargano left, Ciampa's going to the main roster after, like everybody wants the fuck out of there. Like Walter basically like showed up to NXT so he can just like lose a bunch of weight and then go, and then like, I'm not going to be a coach. I'm going straight to the main roster almost. Like, yeah. Why?
Yeah, like it is it's quite telling. You see like all the Undisputed Era guys are all over there aside from Roderick Strong. It seems like there's a big summer angle set to kick off. I can think of another use for Roderick Strong that he'll not get essentially to participate in, because WWE is like, oh, we can't make no money with you, but you ain't gonna make no money for nobody else either. So
right.
And he chose to resign last year, so he could have got out of there. So my sympathy only goes so far in that aspect. However, it's just baffling, especially when you start seeing I don't know if the budget cuts was the excuse behind these NXT ones.
It was.
Okay. It's more baffling when we get more budget cut people that, someone can't get a release. Free up the budget, per se.
Right. And also, like, these budget cuts happen, like, and I think, like, the quarterly call is coming up real soon. Like, it may be this week.
Yeah. So they're not done. Like, they're never done. Yeah, man. So, that'll wrap it up for pretty much the NXT talk. The Rock turned 50 years old today. Dwayne Johnson. I was fortunate enough to watch a lot of his career pretty much, and up until like, I don't know, maybe 2001 I saw, and then I've seen, all his comeback stuff essentially. And, The Rock, you like, imagine if they would have got rid of The Rock after 90 days.
Well, that wouldn't have happened back then because they didn't have like 50 people that they're all trying to teach at the same time how to wrestle. They had like a handful of people.
Yeah, and they almost screwed it up with him too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, happy birthday to The Rock for sure. I don't like. It's crazy to think of The Rock as like this 50-year-old guy. Like, because I remember hearing Jim Ross's voice, WrestleMania 15. He was like, this man's 27 years old or 26 years old. He's main eventing WrestleMania, his first WrestleMania right now. And it's like, bro, do you know what would have to happen? What kind of act of God would have to happen for like a 27-year-old to like main event WrestleMania at this rate?
I mean, Rock got a clone?
Right.
Who else could do that?
Yeah. Like, and you think about, like, he was essentially done by the time he was like 31 years old. He was like kind of phasing out of wrestling for the first time. And you think about like how quickly, his career is a fucking flash. Like, compared to like,
it's like 5 years.
We've been the time we've spent coming back and watching wrestling since like 2012, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's half the time The Rock was around. And like for like 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 a third of it, they had no idea what to do with him. Like, and then, you know, he goes around and takes like, he gets to the top in 2 years. That first year is essentially a wash. Like, you got to throw that one away. So, like, it was really like 4 years of him, and he takes over, becomes like a huge star. Lots of big rivalries with Austin, with Foley, Triple H. Of course, you know, he's in the Nation of Domination, Nation of DX stuff. And he really, like, you know, I thought there was something interesting. Like, he does all this stuff, gets to the top, main events all those WrestleMania. They beat him at like 3 WrestleManias in a row.
Yep.
Imagine that. And they really don't treat him well on the way out. Like, they let his contract like expire in 2005 because they think he's gonna flop and he's gonna have to come back and
at a discount.
Man, what, it's amazing that and I think it's The Rock. There is no one that understands like Rock had to do his jobs, right? Mm-hmm. But he was always going to get them shits back. And like there's a job that was done that he's still waiting to get back one day, and I don't know if like his body is going to like basically hold up for him to get this done or whatever, but Brock Lesnar owes him one. Like, and the table is set to get that back or whatever. And you can check out Brock Lesnar's book, like, for some of that stuff. And, you know, The Rock, like, knows when to lay down and when, you know, he's been taught the business by his grandmother, by his grandfather, by his mom, by his dad, like, coming up for years, Pat Patterson, from the time he was a teenager. So, like, I think some of the political stuff behind Rock's career is fascinating that I don't think people really dive into as much because, you know, obviously, you know, him and Shawn Michaels never worked together. The long rivalry with Triple H and him doing way more jobs for Triple H than like was warranted, I think. And, you know,
what do you mean you think it's flat out. It's like, that's what it is. That shit was ridiculous.
Like him like putting over like Jericho and Angle or whatever, and it was like they weren't gonna get up going through Triple H, like you know, and good luck getting Austin to like do a lot of jobs around that time. And it was like, you know, Rock kind of broke the system like for WWE because he was just so fucking great that, you know, they developed a lot of bad habits.
Right.
They developed a lot of bad habits with The Rock. Any thoughts on The Rock, James?
Man, like the Rock in pro wrestling is like something you have to like, is a place and time. It's like that whole run was a place and time. Like to explain to somebody like from 98 Royal Rumble or so, or you know, to basically like 2000, that this person was going to do that, and then the next thing you know, like become like the biggest star in Hollywood 20 years later, over the next 20 years. You had to be there. You just had to. You can't, like, unless maybe there's a book that can encompass it. I don't know if there's one out there. There should be. I'd buy it. I'd read it. But the dude was one of a kind. Like, you know, for me, like, he's the best promo ever. He's the most charismatic person ever in pro wrestling. Like, I'm sure you have your arguments. You're like, and I'm sure you got your reasons or whatever else. Don't bring it to me. I don't want to hear them. Don't give a fuck. Don't care. Don't care. You want to say Ric Flair? Sure. I'm not going to argue about that. Don't care, bro. CM Punk? Sure. Don't care. MJF? Don't care. Johnson? Don't care. Name anybody you want to. I do not care. Like, Flair was the guy. He absolutely was. The Rock was doing shit that like shouldn't have worked at all. He made it work. Shit that people try to replicate. Can't even do it as good as he was. Think of how over Elias got doing basically less inferior version of the Rock concert.
Yes. Like, that should tell you. Jesus. I need someone to steal the $500 shirts. Like, that was my favorite Rock.
I mean, Ricky Starks is kind of doing that.
Yeah, he's doing it a little bit, but people like to talk about the Hollywood Rock being their favorite guy. My favorite guy was the People's Champ in 2000, $500 shirts, short sideburns or whatever, kind of trimming them up, but still there a little bit. The shades, sliding and doing the people's elbow, nah, bro, like that was where it was at. Like, and I feel like as an athlete, I feel like Rock is real underrated. Like, as an athlete, as a wrestler,
he is, because it was so short.
I would love to drop like 2000 Rock, in with some of the best guys, like, and see like what he can do, because he always had like kind of good matches with like your super worker types of the time that he was in. Like, there's a famous Raw match with him and Eddie Guerrero. Him and Jericho always had pretty good matches as well. Him and Angle was always awesome. And as far as heavyweights, him and Triple H, I think, had like pretty good chemistry. And like, we knew he was well versed in a real man match. He would beat the shit out of you. Like, ask Mick Foley.
Yep.
The only thing you never really seen Rock with was really him versus like the people that are really bigger than him. Like, they didn't really go that direction a lot. But I think he would be an interesting case of like, what would he look like outside of the time he was in?
Yeah, and also is like, relative to his era and his experience, he would, like, obviously people would be like, well, what about Kurt Angle? But outside of fucking Kurt Angle, he was fucking great for like his level of experience in relative to the time and the promotion he was in. He was so good. And I think people get lost in that when you look at like when we talk about like the place and time thing, is like, you had to be there. Like, there weren't too many people that were out here just going out here having like 3.5 high threes, an occasional a very occasional 4 or whatever else with like, when did he start wrestling?
1996.
Right. Like, and doing that like on the biggest promotion in the world by like, in 2 years. That was really hard to do. Like, I don't even know. I have to go through his cage match, look at how many matches he had. But like, that's back then when it was like, you got to have 500 matches to not suck. Was the talk. And it's like, he was doing all that shit on the road.
Right. And he was someone obviously that had the gift of gab and like, the big smile. And, obviously they had plans. They had a lot of smart people
from
at
the
time
beginning
that were like, yo, this is fucking it. Like, and it took a little while, but I remember being a kid and liking Rocky Maivia or whatever. So like, I was down with him from day one. And then when he turned, I was like, bro, he's just even cooler now. Like, so it's just, I think he's, and then I think we should bring up like his return as well, because obviously it was a different time, a different age, like, that he pretty much brought a lot of people back, like including me and James,
right,
to watch, what he had going on then. And I think it worked like really well, at least that first year. Like, it was like biggest WrestleMania gate, of all time. Of course, like big, I love the match too. And they were in Miami, like, and it was like a stadium sellout. I didn't enjoy the after WrestleMania 28 leading up to 29 as much, because I felt like they leaned on him too much. I think CM Punk kind of got to his level, and kind of like in a way that, people like the revisionist history of like thinking like John Cena like had like out-talked The Rock or embarrassed The Rock. Like, I don't think that was the case at all, personally, right? I think Cena had some shining moments against him. I would say, like, like some of the rap stuff was entertaining, but like I felt like The Rock like had it in the bag or whatever. The second time around, not as much. It wasn't, I just wasn't feeling the whole thing or whatever. But I feel like CM Punk like humbled him, like the one we were in attendance for, and then like CM Punk was just like, all right, man, that man made The Rock look mortal. Like, this nigga's for real. But what do you like make of like, and you know, obviously there's a looming threat of him coming back again. Essentially, like they want to really, you know, get to play cousins and really feed into this or whatever. And I never really saw the heat behind that matchup personally. Like I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'd rather see like Rock come back for Lesnar or something like that. But what do you make of like the future prospects of The Rock and also like his run since 2012? I'd say.
I mean, it's instrumental to like, how do I say this? John Cena and CM Punk and Daniel Bryan by the things that happened in you know in and around WrestleMania 28 became bigger stars. Right, like. We do not start One Nation Radio without The Rock coming back. Like, obviously, it's just an us thing, but like you talked about it, biggest WrestleMania gate ever. You know, they thought they were going to be able to do this forever. It brought in the wave of the part timers or whatever else, and like that match was great. That first match was great. The second match is, you know, people. I think it is not a great match. However, it is better than people give it credit for being. You know, a lot of people wanted, you know, a different match. But, he was giving, like, the stuff he did with Punk and with Cena was awesome. The times he comes back, even unannounced, like, it blows up your fucking phone and you gotta go to Raw or wherever the hell to see what the hell's going on. That lets you know, like, that's the reason why people were so furious or mad when, like, you know, the egg thing happened. He didn't show up at a Survivor Series, like, cause it's The Rock. But like, yeah, like I thought the stuff that he did when he was back was quality. And, you know, there's matches for him to do, like you mentioned, like Roman and Brock. And I thought we were going to get Roman and Brock, or Brock and Brock at WrestleMania 30, but, you know, he got so beat up in the 29 match that, like, you know, the production company insurance stuff for the movies, like, no, we're not doing that. We're not covering that shit. So, that's why we've been at the standstill. But, yeah, like, this last run seemingly would have to be the last run for Rock, and like, if it happens, it'll get me to tune in. It absolutely will. I'm not even gonna pretend like, no, that Rock can drop. No, bullshit. Bullshit. The Rock will have me, like, they announced The Rock that he will be there. I will be tuned in, like, literally 1 minute before that happens to go see what he does, or whatever else, and all that kind of stuff, and we'll go from there. And I hope to enjoy it. And, like, you know, Brock is super talented, Roman is super talented, and hopefully they'll come up with something that doesn't feel contrived. They can come up there and go face to face and, you know, talk about who's the best and that sort of thing. And hopefully they have some fun with it. But yeah, like, I thought, you know, you think of all the other part-timers we've had, like, who did it better? Because Undertaker ran his course, Triple H ran his course, Shane, that shit always sucked.
Like, there's Brock, but I don't know. I kind of put Brock in a different category.
Brock ran his course quickly too, years ago. Like Brock shit started hot and then phased down. Edge, that shit faded out by WrestleMania.
Record time.
Yep. Yeah, it's
like they hoping they can start getting Cena, but like that don't look like it's the case. Like it feels like Cena's like, he gave him SummerSlam, he gave him last summer, and then I don't know how much more Cena, like I don't know how much more Cena is gonna be, you know, around. So appreciate Cena while you can.
Yeah. But I just Rock is a 101, man.
Yep. Happy birthday to The Rock.
Right place, right time, all that. Like, it's one thing where it's like the talent or whatever else, but it's also like, ain't no way that The Rock could be The Rock now. Ain't no way. They would have fucked him
nobody up. Writing that shit. Well, it wasn't nobody writing that shit he was coming up with.
Nope.
So, shouts out to The Rock for sure. So switching gears, we have AEW Dynamite.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.
And Rampage that happened last week. I forget where they were at. They were in Philadelphia.
Yep.
So always good when they go to the Northeast. Pretty good crowds whenever they go out there. We opened the show. Dax Harwood versus Cash Wheeler in an Owen Hart Cup qualifying match.
Oh God, here we go. Okay, so I'm before I give you the runway, I just want people to know I gave the match 4 stars, and I'm good out the way. Go ahead, Rich.
Okay. The cosplay generals have done it again. What I'm going to say is probably not popular. It is probably not the general opinion of this match. The roses I saw being thrown at this, there are no greater workers than FTR that convince people what they think they're seeing while ignoring what they're actually seeing. I understand the love for Bret Hart. No one loves Bret Hart like I do. Got his book, got him to sign it. Love Bret Hart. Talk about him all the time, a couple times a week to my friends. Talk about his book and how great it is and how detailed it is and it being the Bible of wrestling, essentially. I love the Bret Hart is always right stuff because he is. I love when he kills Goldberg for ending his career. But between CM Punk and FTR now in this match, they weren't just taking a spot here and there to make you think of Bret. They weren't just, doing like a cool move like, hey, I'm going to take a turnbuckle, run into it, with my chest and everything like that. They're redoing entire sequences of several different matches, just combining these shits like all in one. And it's like, why am I impressed by this at all? Who are you, like, as a wrestler? Like, the one time we may get like Dax Harwood versus Cash Wheeler, and I feel like it was very underwhelming. I feel like it was not a reflection of their true abilities personally. And it was just like the cosplay wrestlers being more cosplay wrestlers that they supposedly hate, that all the FTR fans, except Floyd does not do this, largely champion and tell everyone else they're cosplay wrestlers, they're fake wrestling and all this stuff. And they're doing all these things, but all FTR has to do is show up with a Heart Foundation patch on the back and start doing some wacky roll-up pins and a couple, other sequences from WrestleMania 10, and people just lose their minds. Like, just make it a little bit more difficult. I shouldn't be like logging in like to Twitter 25 minutes later and they have a side-by-side mock-up of the sequences from Bret and Owen immediately. Like, everybody knew this was coming. They did it anyway. I was like, yo, what was so impressive about this? All you did was just steal sequences from 1994 over and over and over again. I'm sorry if you don't like hearing this, whoever you are that may be disagreeing with that. But when I watched the match, I was like, are you serious? This is what we're doing? What? Like Soulja Boy says, like, you copied his whole fucking flow. Like shout out to Dylan, word for word, bar for bar. Like, where's the originality? Where's the, where's your kind of innovation here? I get it. You love Bret Hart. We all love Bret Hart. It's too much. It's too much between CM Punk, between Dax, between Cash. None of you are Owen Hart athletically.
Nope.
Let alone
not pound for pound. Not at a pound for pound level. No.
And then as far as technical precision, none of you are Bret Hart. So like when I see like someone like, and maybe this is a function of me just like holding Brett and Owen to such a high standard, like, and you know, what tributes might not necessarily be like exact replicas of them or whatever, but like when I see someone wanting to like show love to someone, I expect it to be in the ballpark personally. And it's not that the work wasn't like, you know, obviously the work was good, like, but it was like, all right, what made y'all go with that? Like, y'all didn't want to add nothing else to it. Like y'all are just determined to wrestle like it's 1993, 1994. Okay, I guess. I'm sorry. Like, it's just how I felt about it. Like, you know, if you're upset with me for this, I'll live with it, because like the FTR like stuff it's fascinating to watch this. That no one is like understanding what's going on here.
So for me, I had issues with the match as well. Like, I did not watch this live. I ended up watching this on, I want to say Saturday, and I put it on, I pressed play, and within like probably 45 seconds, I was like, oh, okay, so here is Owen and Baldur's Brett. Right? I was like, okay, I'm fine with that, but I know what's going on here. Then they open each other up with some chops, and then from there, and then like, they were wrestling at such a pace. I was like, that obviously was unsustainable for them. And like, then they started, and they did a good job of doing old school lay on the mat selling, of, you know, putting big moves, so, you know, superplexes, and stuff, so where like they can do double down so they can, you know, catch their breath. But the thing is, like, that worked then, and I understand that like you're cribbing from some of these mid 90s matches, but like you're not working for the mid 90s, you're working for 2020. So for me, the thing you're talking about, like trying to wrestle the precision of Brett and Owen, I'm not holding that as standard, because I don't see them individually as that level of worker. So like, technically, so for me, it's like they're great wrestlers, if you will. Like, they're not like elite for their era level technical wrestlers, right? Like, they're not like Johnny Gargano or Pete Dunne, right? So for me, I was like, okay, they're doing a very good job with their wrestling. Is it as to the level of the people that they're taking this stuff from? No. But I didn't hold that against them. So that, I guess, is why I have a better, outlook on the match. And like, you know, by the time they went to the finish, I was like, okay, of course it's going to end with some type of near fall, or some type of like roll up or whatever. I was like, they're going to make each other tap. That's how I'm going to get out of it. So I really enjoyed the match. Like, I thought it was a great match. I agree with your points. I just didn't have those kind of that stuff didn't bother me when I watched it. Right, like what you're saying is valid, but it didn't bother me when I watched it. I really enjoyed the match, and like similar to the Dustin and CM Punk match from the week before, it was like, yeah, you're right. It is a Bret Hart Dustin match. I can see why you don't like it. I'm not expecting CM Punk and FTR to be able to wrestle like Bret, so I'm not holding to that standard. Like, I'm just letting it go, right? And maybe I'm being too kind with that, but that's how I feel. Like, I enjoy the matches, like, and then for the other stuff with it, like, I see what you mean, but like, just me, like, just on a simple thing, like, did I enjoy the matches or not? I enjoyed both matches, but you're absolutely right.
It was like, the more I thought about it, like, the more like I didn't like it. I was like, because when I was like, oh, it was solid, you know, whatever, and then I just started thinking about it. I was like, bro, they just like,
is this a tribute, or are you just stealing shit?
Yeah, like and there's a fine line, and I think it's fair to ask where that line is. Like, you know, when you're just taking like multiple sequences of just redoing moves and counters and stuff, and it's just like, I get the game of taking from the past, of taking, you know, from what you're influenced by, but who are you?
Right, yeah. Where's your actual like flair in like impression of it? Yeah.
Yeah, so That's my thoughts on it, but I don't know. People were probably upset, but whatever.
I mean, can they really be? Because everybody was like, I mean, not everybody, but like a lot of people were hyping this shit up as like this is going to be some match of the year contender, and I was like,
hey, look,
what?
I was like, the role that they're on right now, like I didn't put it out of being like I wasn't going to say it was going to be a match of the year contender or anything, but like being like match of the month or something, like could it have been? Sure, why not?
So what's a match of the month? A 4 3/4 star match?
Something like that, like 4.5 or better, like, get in the enough. Range.
Do I think so? For me, I think like in their best days, they can have a 4.5 star match with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It wasn't in the cards for them that particular night, but like I think that's the ceiling. Right, like in like 4.5 star matches. Like I mean, I roughly saw 2 of those like in Stardom just this weekend. So like, like let alone like some Saber or Will Ospreay shit from this year, right? So it's like when people were maybe I don't know. I just saw people were like super hyped for this thing, like it was like Pac and Omega, and I'm just like, nah, man, they're not that level of wrestler. Y'all gotta stop this shit. Y'all gotta stop, please. Like, and like when you talk about like they're great, they're better workers than y'all wrestlers. Like that's the kind of thing like you get is like how many times do we go through this thing? We talk about like best tag teams in NXT at the time, and it's like they were never the best tag team in any promotion they've ever been in. Yet they still get into this conversation for they're the best tag team in the world. And it's like, how does this? Who is doing their marketing? Who is doing this?
Like they've made it part of their gimmick. Like Dax is real loud in pretty much every promo now. So it's like T.I. when he called himself the King of the South. But like it's absolutely ridiculous. Like I know it wasn't absolutely ridiculous when T.I. was saying it. Like he'd be like, we're determined to go down as the best tag team of all time. Like listen to how many times Dax says it, and like eventually, like perception is reality at a certain point. Like he's saying it for so long, people just kind of just start saying it.
Yeah, but essentially, but also like most of the people that say that stuff are people that are like, I don't give a fuck what their opinions are on wrestling. Like who besides Floyd thinks the FCR is the best tag team in the world? That you actually care what they think about pro wrestling?
Oh man,
I think Floyd's it.
Floyd might be a 1 of 1 on that. It might be a 1 of 1. Like, cause I can't like say like in my personal circles, like, like FTR like really ranks like that. But me, like I prefer their kind of tag team matches than like a lot of guys. But it's like the output's the output. And like they're, they have some issues at times wrestling certain opponents at times. Like I feel like this year was like the year where it's like, okay, they're all, some of the shit that they made adjustments, right? And they're back to being like what they kind of were doing in sometimes NXT or whatever else, like those 2 matches they had earlier, like about a month ago. But but they're like, I've always been like, yeah, like I think Dax can go out there and have great tag or singles matches or whatever else, but like as far as like a singles talent where it's all on you gotta go 15 plus minutes, that's really fucking hard for anyone. And like, so for me, I was like, nah, I think the ceiling's 4.5. But like people were kind of like thinking like they were about to see like Hangman and Danielson. I'm like, really? You like to see Hangman and Danielson? When have you ever seen them wrestle like Hangman or Danielson? The coke is coking.
Yeah, so, maybe, I was kind of like, but I like, them at 4 stars, like, if you were to ask me what I thought they'd do, I'd probably say a little bit better, so I'm not really holding against them or whatever else. But like, I've seen people like, or I've seen someone to talk about it, they were disappointed. I was like, I don't know, like, goes back to the work thing. Like, I don't know what y'all expected from them. I just don't. I think y'all being unrealistic. I think y'all being too hard on these dudes.
These boys masters, bro. Like, they,
I guess so.
They figured it out.
Yeah, I remember last week, kind of on the slide, you're like, we'll see if it's better than, was it BTE 200?
It was not.
It also wasn't better than, right?
Go ahead. Let them know, James.
Any of them Lucha Bros matches against each other in AEW last year?
Also,
I'm sorry, 2020, not last year. Sorry, 2020.
Also,
none of them Gargano and Ciampa matches neither. None of them, except for in front of live crowds. If you want to say, well, what about the Final Heartbeat? Sure, the one that got derailed by the fucking pandemic. Sure, everyone else, no.
Okay. After that, CM Punk's on commentary during this whole match. Which
is also another thing was like added to it. It was like
it was just too much.
The two goons for MJF are tagging each other, and and MJF's biggest nemesis, the person that he hates the most in the world, is on commentary for it because it's like, all right, I know what y'all are doing. This is a bit too much for me. But, whatever. I guess but whatever. Like, it was a moment for the boys, so the boys had their moments. Good for them.
Yeah, I was watching this match and I was like, man, the marks might be in the ring. So, oh man. After that, Punk said, Punk got on the mic. He was already out there anyway. He says that he can stand there and say, he asked himself if he could do this before he came back. Now he can say he can. Said he's a fan of Adam Page and not to disparage. He doesn't want to disparage anyone he's been in there with thus far, other than Eddie Kingston. Everything leading up to now has been a warm up. Without the fans, there's no CM Punk. Without the fans, he doesn't come back to wrestling. Punk says he's not a gambling man, but he's going to bet on himself at Double or Nothing. And Hangman's going to know he's been in the fight, and he's going to fight until the wheels fall off. And Page had COVID this week. That's why he missed the show.
I'm still in shell for you saying the marks might be the ring. but we'll get to that. We can start a review because there was one mark in the ring on Friday night. But I thought this was a great promo. Kind of, gives you a like that feel of when he first came back around the first few weeks where he's like, I'm back. I'm happy to be around. I want to tell you guys that I'm happy and, kind of, show you that, like, just babyface talk and talk about, where he is, where he wants to go. And I thought it was really cool. And, I thought it was a great promo. And I also like the idea of him walking around the crowd. I think he was going for the crowd being more hyped for it. But it was still well done because it's CM Punk and, like, the match is announced. And, there is no wrong outside of a stupid bad, run in or anything like this. There's no bad finish. They can flip a coin. It don't matter.
This is a very dangerous match for Hangman. If you've thought everything's been too predictable thus far, I think you're in for a treat. So,
because you can easily see, like, all right, you can easily see them be like, okay, so you get it to Punk. You get it on Punk, so you can get it to MJF, so MJF get it to Wardlow. You can see that. You can easily see that in the pipeline as far as the transitions for, like, from 2020 to 2023. But there's also a different timeline where they could do something else, like, because, Hangman's if you lose that'll be 6 months from the time he won it. Like, I don't think anyone complained about anybody given the quality of matches he's had and feuds he's had. I don't think anyone could complain about a 6 month run. But whatever. Like, this is on paper, the biggest match of Hangman's career. And, like, Punk, you talk about the Bret Hart tributes or whatever else, like, the dude puts a lot of thoughts to his matches. He has and he still has that thing that Jericho has where it's like, he has his match and he knows how to get a crowd. And he's going to be in there with Hangman, and, like, Hangman's just a dog, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
I
think this could be, I know people have, like, really high praise for the dog collar match. I think this could be CM Punk's best singles match, like no like regular rules match in AEW. I think this could be the place where he has that.
We had Dan Lambert backstage. He said this match is not a coincidence. Scorpio Sky cuts a promo saying he was screwed out of the belt. He's not here to complain, as Frankie didn't step aside to lose. The Philly crowd is here to see him beat Sammy's ass, and there can only be one face of TNT, which is him. Real fired up there for Scorpio. Then we got the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Factory. The Wheeler Yuta story rolls on. Whoops their ass, essentially.
Yeah. The match was centered around Nick Camarado and Yuta, and he couldn't do anything with his size. He obviously had the technical advantage over him, but he couldn't do anything with his size at the beginning, and by the end, he's able to get, like the Daniel Bryan elbows from like some type of like, have your arms like locked out and then like drop elbows down on him. And then once he got him down to the mat, he transitioned to he did the Mina flash pin, the Mina, the glorious collection Mina pin, except without the Mina pose. But like he basically, like, I think they called it a seat belt or a safety belt or what the hell they called it. But yeah, like it was basically the same thing, like just transition over into a crucifix, and it was cool. And like, gotta say, like these matches are fun. They're just like party matches almost, with like, instead of flying around, like it's just like cool interactions and ass beating. It's fun.
They booked them next week against Angelico and Butcher and the Blade. I get it, bro. I get it. Every fucking week, like one of these matches. This is the Wheeler Yuta story. Like, I get it. Like, the promotion has become like, or I won't go that far, because there's a lot of hyperbole elsewhere that I don't want to indulge by putting it here. But if I go through the last like X amount of weeks, it's like one of these matches is like, bro, I get the point already. Like you're beating it home to me, bro. They fuck people up. I understand, bro. Like, can we get a real opponent to them yet, or somebody, please?
I think that they're still waiting for like the announcement of like the trios titles, whatever else. Like, I mean, we just got Phoenix back this week, so they're still waiting on that. Obviously, they're still waiting on Omega to figure out what the hell's going on. Like, they're kind of treading water, but for me, like, at least like these matches are fun. We'll see what happens when it comes, because we're getting to that time where they need a pay-per-view opponent, so we'll see.
Yep. We had Shivani with Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Toni Storm. Toni says she's going to see Jamie in the first round. She wants Britt to say hello to her friend, Ruby Soho. Ruby comes on screen. She basically says, like, she can't imagine a better way to make change. Every time, someone new shows up, Britt basically, starts swinging her proverbial around, and then Jamie Hayter, like, looks underneath. It was pretty funny. Britt said there's no physicality, so they're going to visit Ruby's home, catering. So one of those burying her. Then Jungle Boy was backstage. He said he knew he could have won. Christian Cage told me he sounds like a loser, but that was a teachable moment. But they can right or wrong, and all of a sudden, like, Ricky Starks just appeared like he was in a whirlwind, essentially, and then challenged them, to a tag team title match with him and Hobbs. And I don't know when that is, but that should be a pretty fun match.
Yeah, I agree.
Teams has heating up all of a sudden.
Yeah, would you have been mad at this been like the pay-per-view match? Because I wouldn't have been.
No.
Yeah, so I wonder what they come up with for pay-per-view.
Like, I think it might like still come back to Swerve and like Keith Lee or something.
I mean, okay.
So after that, we got Lance Archer versus Wardlow, and yes, the War Dog once again. And Lance Archer did, this was a pretty fun match here.
Yep.
Wardlow flying around, bumping.
Archer flying around.
Yep. And then, like, I was like, this is better than any Undertaker versus Kane match that ever happened. Josh didn't like that, but I was like, this is better than any of those matches that ever happened ever in history. Wardlow,
and we're not talking about like some all-time match. We're talking about like a three some low 3, high mid 3 type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, man. They, like the big dudes start flying and flipping. I'm gonna have a certain amount of appreciation. It's amazing they're still letting Wardlow do that swanton with Jeff Hardy around, but
who has more impressive swanton at this point? Because Jeff just landing on bitches.
Yeah,
like he just dropping his whole body on people.
Yeah.
This man has figured out that like.
It's about me.
That human bodies are softer than the canvas. That's he has figured it out. He's like, sorry, brother. Better you than me, bitch.
Look, bitch, you better lock up.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like, I thought it was really fun, and I will say this: I'm not looking forward to the next opponent for Wardlow.
I will push back on that. So like W. Morrissey is rumored to be the opponent that's coming in. MJF cut a promo after that. And all I have to say is W. Morrissey is not Big Cass. This guy has completely rebuilt his look. He's got like a Psycho Sidian kind of aura about him. Like he knows exactly who he is. Very confident. Every time I've seen him, like he completely revamped.
I imagine he's still a good promo.
Probably still a good promo. And like he's wrestling in these jeans. He's jacked. He's oiled up. He's tanned. He's still tall. Whatever. He's not 7 feet yet.
He's still 6'7" or 6'9".
He's still 6'7", but like 6'9". He's insanely protected in Impact. And I remember like checking him out last year and being like, I wouldn't be opposed to him getting a chance somewhere else again, because like he's too big for Impact. Like let's just say what it is. Like eventually, like you would think WWE would call him, would eventually give him a call one day if it didn't end too badly there. And
okay.
If this is the case where it's like a scouting thing, like, if he may come into AEW one day, like if he's by himself, like do not bring Enzo with him. Like, I think there are worse things that, like, and the week Joey Janela is out of here, essentially. W. Morrissey comes in.
He apologized to Janela, though.
I know.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think he's not the 2018 big ass, that version of him. Like, I would be excited to see, especially in there with Wardlow, like, nah, like they could do something, I think. And
we'll see.
If it's a one-off, it's a one-off, but like I don't think this is this is some tragedy that he's coming, because like I'm into the guy, like as far as how he's presented in Impact.
We'll see. I'm just at a point now where it's like, unless you're a super talent, I don't, or you're a real need, I don't see why they need him or need somebody like added to the roster at this point, right? Like at this point, like need to take needs and like the super luxuries that put him over the top that you have to take. So for me, like he doesn't fit in either one of those categories. So the thought of him coming in for one match, fine. My thing is like, what if he has one match, it goes really good, and then we're like, nah, bro, we need to go ahead and sign you, make sure that you're all elite, brother. And then I'm like, nah. But especially
look what Eric Rowan just did. Like that man showed up, he didn't get signed. Right. He did it. Right. He did his thing.
Right. My whole thing is like, I've had bad relationships with previous promoters, and like it's hard for me to give full trust. So
when does that end?
Huh?
When does that end? Never. That it's just like,
bitch. I don't think I'm ever gonna trust Rossi or Tony Khan.
Scar for life.
I don't think I'm ever gonna trust either one of them. Nah, man. Nah.
For life.
For life. You gonna have to always earn it.
That's so funny.
You got to always earn it. He'll treat you like Jerry Rice. You got to come out here. You got to come out here and run this goddamn heel and be ready at all times.
You got to be ready to go.
But yeah, we'll see. Like if it's one match, fine, because they also did the one match thing with like Nick Gage, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine, and that's a feature of the the MJF pattern is like,
ooh, they're going to be in no, they're not in Long Island this week. My bad.
Yeah. I'm mistaken what I was going to say, but like they've done it before, but I was going to mention a longer one, but that was actually Jericho bringing in Jeff Cobb. But, yeah, like AEW has a history of bringing, basically outsourcing heel work from out of promotion to come in for a hot match and then leave. So, this could be it, and I hope that's kind of it. As far as W. Morrissey and the rest of his career, he turned his life around, and good for him. I have not seen any of his stuff since then, but you're right. Like I have seen the physique change. Like he definitely has put in some work. So good for him.
Then we had like Jericho Appreciation Society cutting a promo with Eddie Kingston and Santana and Ortiz. This was like, I don't know if I was like halfway paying attention or whatever, but this got really intense at the end of it.
Yeah.
This was a whole deal. Like I thought Angelo Parker was great. Like they have tons of presence on the microphone. Jericho demanded an apology. Ortiz says he has something better, and he flips a bird to him. Santana does the same. Jericho turned his back on the guys that knew him best, and Daniel Garcia like looking like a mobster with a damn wife beater and the Kangol on backwards, starts mocking Eddie Kingston's eyebrows, which was funny. Yes. It was like, bro, you try to be hard. You got your eyebrows done, bro.
It's Dan Garcia's best moment on the microphone that I've ever seen.
Yeah, you know. Basically he's like lunging at them and act like, you know, he's saying what y'all gonna do, like, and all this other stuff. It was pretty funny. Eddie Kingston says he hates all that sports entertainment crap. I agree. He said they're gonna get to Chris regardless. They don't care if it's 5-on-3. Jericho says that's the problem. They're not smart enough to realize it's 5-on-3, so they're putting a hit on him and they're gonna take him out one by one. Eddie Kingston asked him if he knows, what a hit means. He said in his world, that means he ends things. Jericho says no wrestling company wants him. It's his last chance, so he needs to stand and do as he is told, calls him a bitch. Eddie says he's not, going to hit him or anything, but he can smell the fear coming off of him. Eddie says, they've done it before and, they'll put these guys on the ground or whatever. Train killer. Eddie Kingston, and he basically, tells Jericho they're not prepared to do that. Jericho's backing all down, selling it wonderfully. So, like, just more Jericho and Kingston magic.
I loved it until the part about talking about what a hit is, because I was like, y'all not killers. Stop this. Like, stop. Stop. Obviously he didn't say that they were killers that per se. They were talking about like where they're from. There are killers, and I'm fine with that. But it's like, yeah, bro, I get that. Like, and you've been beating shit out of each other. Like, but you're fake fighting. Stop. Like, it's not going to escalate to that. It's not. And then I think you know what it was. It was like when he put he did the finger guns to Jericho's temple. That's when I was like, okay, get the fuck out of here. But before that,
not with ism.
You want to say this thing? Sure. In this case, no, I wasn't with the handgun ism. But for that one, it checked me out. But right up until that point, I loved it. I really did, and like I really like the story they're telling, even if it is like quite obvious. It's like sports entertainment versus the real. Like Jericho's a phony, and versus a real person like Kingston and Santana and Ortiz. And you're right, and like Jericho's out here with those boots, and like he was behind that table, and he moved out the way and got to the front so he could showcase them boots. And I was like, when I was watching, I was like, oh, he definitely was like, nah, the camera can't catch these boots. I'm moving so they can see these goddamn boots.
That man specially ordered those. Yeah. He was like, how many bedazzles can you put on it? Okay, can you put more?
Yes. Like more. Kobe system, more.
Yes. Yes. Rick James would have loved those shoes. Prince would have loved those shoes. Lots of brothers would have worn those shoes in the 70s.
Yeah. But yeah, like
and then cut you with a razor.
Yeah. Yeah. Like don't think it's game. Do not think it's game. This shit's not sweet. So we'll get to it later, but another part that makes us like what happened later in the show, I was like, what? But you can move on.
So we had Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida in a Philly street fight. This was pretty good. I didn't think it was a super match or anything, but I thought it was like it wrapped up their series for the moment. They're in the same building that this whole thing started between them with the 50-win trophy. Serena Deeb gets to win. Good physicality all throughout this, and they were pretty much, just using the knees, to attack each other. They had Hikaru Shida came out in the street fight gear, so I definitely need the.
She wore shirts. She wore some shorts.
I need the street fight Hikaru Shida alternate attire in the video game. So definitely they need to do that. This is a pretty good match, and I think that this. We've pretty much seen Serena Deeb come in even before anyone else did. I would say on this show, because like once the ball got rolling on Serena, it was kind of like the green light for them to take the belt off Britt and then onto the new person in Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa rolls through, her quote unquote mandatory challenge with Nyla Rose, and then who do you go into possibly your first pay-per-view match at? You're gonna have Serena Deeb, who's fresh off of big wins against Shida, the long series with doing the squashes, essentially the 5-minute white girl challenges or whatever. Right. So she's been she's primed up.
Of serenity,
something I don't know.
Yeah.
And she they're primed to probably have a pretty good match come Double or Nothing.
Yeah, expected a really good match from both of them. And that was the whole thing. Like once they get this match, it's like, well, where could it go from this? Like once they're done, it's like, all right, well, Shida goes down, and for now, and Serena needs to go up to be the challenger. I think there's gonna be a lot more to this as far as like character work and promo stuff and building on like attention and like making Serena out to be a scoundrel with Rosa compared to Shida. I just think that they had the matches and they had the heat. It wasn't. I don't think from a storyline perspective, I don't think that it was. I think it was just very bare bones, and for me that worked. I think for a lot of people it left them cold, and that's why they almost often forget about this when they talk about like the women's division. So yeah, like I think that I thought it was a good match, and I thought it told a good story with working over the knee to where she had no choice but to tap, and it's been playing is like Serena just like starts wearing down your joints and you break. So like that's a great hill to have for the face champion to go against eventually. That's what we assume. So yeah, well done.
We got MJF and Shawn Spears backstage, and that's when he cuts the promo about W. Morrissey. Lights went out. Fuego del Sol is shown laid out in front of the House of Black. Malachi Black looked like he was going to pull the mask off of him, but then Alex Abrahantes, quote unquote, was in the ring. Immediately, I knew something wasn't right because I was like, hold on, that voice is not like coming from that direction or whatever.
I thought it was Penta that was in the ring, and then they were going to bring out Ray from the ramp, and then said it the other way.
Yep. And they said they've been waiting for the moment to blindside the House of Black. Then all of a sudden, Penta and Pac appeared, and then Alex Abrahantes shows up on apron, and you're like, hold on.
Right. Well, and then these idiots, they never turn around and be like, well, who the fuck was behind us then? They never even did that. Like, if it's three of y'all, and there's one back here, and who is this? They just sat there and then waited for the whole time. Like, 1 second I hear Abraham show up the front, I turn around and like, nah, we gotta jump this dude. We outnumbered. But whatever.
Right. And then Phoenix
Let me tell you what else I do in wrestling storylines.
What?
I was joking. Like, obviously they had to do that, but like, if it were me, like, well, yeah, like this ain't a movie, bro. Like you're not in the movie. Relax. So go ahead. Okay.
And then Ray Phoenix shows back up. He has a shovel, and then the Death Triangle tries to attack them. Phoenix and Buddy Matthews kind of square off. Phoenix gets back to flying, and I see Death Triangle back, and I'm like, yes, let's bring it back to the essence in the air. Let's get it back to the essence of AEW. Bring my dog Ray Phoenix back in this bitch. Turn this bitch up.
Happy he's back. Happy to see him. That match's gonna be awesome. Like, Are they going to be able to hold it off, or do they need to have like one match and have a rematch on pay-per-view?
I think they might fuck around and book it before pay-per-view.
I'm thinking like
they shouldn't, but
that's why I'm thinking.
Should put it on pay-per-view.
They like to have
that good,
right? I think they're going to be at a situation where they're like, all right, we'll do
like
this
live Rampage or whatever, like something like that to give it a big main event.
Like when they have that match is going to be out of this world. That match is going to be one of the best matches in AEW this year. When they have the real match, eventually, like maybe they do 2, maybe they do 1-1 and they move on from there, or set up for like we'll see what they do. Like just give them like 15 minutes, please. Just give them like 15 minutes. Let them just do their thing. It's gonna be awesome.
So they showed Swerve backstage with Darby Allin. I saw this. I had no idea it was coming, and I was like, "All right, well, I'll be damned." So Swerve says friends is a strong term after Shivani says these guys are friends. He said they're rivals who beat each other up, and he's looking forward to making Rampage Swerve's house. Darby says he hates to break it to him, but AEW is Darby's house, and he's been here since day one. He's tired of Swerve walking in the company saying it's his house. He's going to show him why in the tournament. So Swerve versus Darby was booked. He had Undisputed Elite versus the Babyface Army of the Varsity Blondes, Dante Martin, Brock Anderson, and Lee Johnson. Pretty standard fare here. Undisputed Elite hit like a 4-way BTE trigger on Lee Johnson. Adam Cole doesn't even tag into the match until the finish.
Right. And he has a whole bunch of tape on his shoulder the whole time. So it's like, what kind of shape is he in right now? Like
that man probably going through it.
Match.
Through it.
Yeah. So hopefully, he can heal up some. And obviously, in 2 bags, they didn't cancel the match, but like he did very little.
Yep. So a lot of athletic guys. Like, of course, Dante Martin is back singles. So anytime you're getting Dante in there, some good stuff is happening. But
they also told the story earlier that they still kind of were Fish and O'Reilly and the Young Bucks were still kind of at odds and not really trusting each other, and then they were getting their ass handed to them, and eventually like they rallied and they were like, you know what, fuck this, we're better than them, we're not losing, and then by the end that's when they kind of like got them all on the same page where they started hitting tandem moves, and then they hit the BT trigger, and then they won, and now they're all like Undisputed Elite. So it was nice as far as nice development more than just. I think the development of this was better than the match, because the match is kind of there, which is saying something, because like the Young Bucks I don't think I've ever seen a just kind of their Young Bucks match before ever.
I don't know if they're
broke up. They might be hurt.
I don't know. I think they could be hurt.
They're not wrestling much at all.
Like, bro, like you look at the first 5 months of this year, you've got the match with FTR, you got the pay-per-view match that they had, and then like some of the battle royal work. Besides that, it's been slim pickings. Like, I think they did a match with Top Flight on a Rampage. I think we may have seen there was a singles Nick Jackson match with Trent, if I'm not mistaken. So they've had a pretty light load this
so far
5 months or so. Yeah. So hopefully those guys can heal up and get back to it. So always good to see when the Bucks show up.
Or they might be saving some stuff until like the Omega thing. I don't know. Who knows? It could be both.
Yeah. So after that, we got the TNT Championship ladder match: Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. And Sammy came out to the ring, or before Sammy came out, Scorpio met him in the entrance, started brawling with him. This had good energy. Thought the crowd was into it. And by the end, they were going nuts, but there was like tons of shit in this match. Crazy dives, bumps, and like there was a huge botch, like where Scorpio Sky didn't catch Sammy, and Sammy landed directly on his fucking head when he did, like, I don't know what the fuck he did.
He did a twisting 630 off the ladder.
That boy crazy.
And it was like, what do you expect that was going to happen?
Yeah,
like, I watched it, on Saturday, and I was like, I'm like, oh fuck, he just dropped it. I was like, oh shit, he just landed on his head. because like he landed and then like his head would lash and the back of his head hit the mat, and then you look at him, he looks like he's like looks like it might be a situation where he might be not a little loopy at the least. I'm like fuck, and I was like, I thought to myself like, well, Scorpio Sky can't do nothing with that. It's too many elbows and feet and boots and knees like flipping around, and you can't get a hand on it. Like the most he could, like Scorpio got a hand out. That's while falling backwards. That's the most you can do without worried about getting your nose knocked down your nose not down your nose.
Yeah.
No, your nose not down your sinuses. Like so, I was like, I can't be mad at Scorpio. What the fuck is supposed to do? Is like that's on Sammy not to do that move. He got to do something else. Otherwise, he's gonna his brain's gonna be a slushy. So. Like I was concerned by that moment. It also sucked because it didn't look good. So I don't think they really replayed it because it didn't look that good because like it wasn't a nice catch and he like.
The cool thing was they were going to break and that shit like
that's right.
Closed the screen.
Yeah, and it looked more like he it looked more like he took because he looked more like he fell than he actually landed on Scorpio. So I was like, damn, that sucks. And then they I think they set the ladders. They were going to do. They did the reversal off of the what happened in the Cody match with the alley oop cutter where like instead of this time like in midair, Scorpio is the one that does the cutter. So that was a great counter off of playing on the ladder match, a superior ladder match. But then the bullshit starts happening. All the run-ins and more setting up of the mixed tag that I don't care about, but
bro, I thought we were gonna finally get these two have been marred with run-ins this whole feud, and I was like, damn, can we get these two to by themselves? But I think the crowd actually liked it, and
oh yeah, they were hot for the fighting. For me, I didn't care. For me, it made me check out. It's like, we're not going to figure out who the better man was or better athlete was. Okay, great, cool, whatever. I mean, I'll say, you can say well, it's a ladder match. All you do is going up and grabbing, grabbing something. But no one got beat. No one got beat or in that kind of way. It's like they did that stuff. They did the spot that I thought was kind of neat, where the opposite women were on each other's shoulders and whatever else. But shit got knocked off. Then they brought out the barbed wire ladder, which is Scorpio does a spot gets thrown on the ladder, and then his back doesn't come up, nothing rolling. It was so it's fake. Okay, whatever. I don't. It doesn't really bother me if he's bleeding or not, right? But I was like, okay, so but I understand it's like when they fixed up Hell in a Cell where people don't get cut up with it, right? It's I know what you're going for. I don't need blood to be see how real it is. I don't care. So it's fine, right? But then after that happens, Sammy sets up the ladder, sets up the barbed wire ladder up against the ropes, and they end up in at the end where the ladder, they're on the top of the ladder in the middle, and Scorpio pushes Sammy off the ladder. He falls into the barbed wire ladder to his death. And I guess Scorpio from exhaustion collapses. He goes back down. The crowd pops, so they know that's the finish. He readjusts the ladder to where he's facing the ladder's now facing to where if he climbs up, he's facing the car cam, right? So I'm like, all right, well that's a good shot for the win. Sammy out of nowhere, I don't know, gets defibrillated and gets up and springboards onto the ladder, and then and the crowd's like, what? And Scorpio beats him by just shoving him off, and I was like, why the fuck you get back up then? The finish was you died falling onto a barbed wire chair. You're not topping that by getting pushed off at the end. Just stay the fuck down and let him win.
Yeah.
Why are you not finishing on the hot spot in a ladder match? That's fucking stupid. I thought it was dumb. So it irritates the shit out of me.
I think he wanted to look more like a badass from getting up off the the barbed wire.
You know what's real
deal.
badass? You know what's really badass? Losing by getting shoved off the ladder as opposed to falling to your death on a barbed wire ladder. That's so much better. So much better. You look so much tougher, Sammy. Fuck. It's like, I felt like I was Jim Cornette, like, have we lost the plot here? I was like, just, if you can't go down on that one? No? Alright, fine. You have a better spot? Like, if you had a better spot, I'd be like, fine. But you didn't have a better spot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, fuck. Alright, man. Alright. Whatever.
People were going crazy when Scorpio pulled the belts down. So it worked. Whatever happened. So Sammy was getting big boos the whole match. The double turn seems to have done his job. Scorpio Sky got a reaction that I don't think he's ever gotten, which is good. They still got the
even more than the SCU stuff when he was getting himself over at the beginning in 2019.
I think this is bigger than that.
I just wonder if it's close. You're probably right. I just wonder if it's close. Because, I mean, they were really into Scorpio Sky when he's out here wrestling one shoe on the shit.
Mm-hmm. I think, and then, I think this has come up to, I think people have gotten really hyperbolic about the TNT title as far as the people calling it, a 24/7 belt. I think that's absurd.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not even, the WWE United States title or the Intercontinental title. I was like, let me know when the TNT champion is losing non-title matches over and over and over and then getting left off of cards. Let me know when that happens. Then we can say it's a belt that doesn't matter or doesn't mean anything. It went from a couple of guys to a couple of guys, back and forth. So I think people are going a little nuts with it, but I think it's so it's a diversion from I don't know, when you look at it, it's the only belt in the company that's changing like that. The women's belt, super stable, and I don't know if the idea of stable is necessarily everything, because look how much people were tired of Britt Baker about halfway through that thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think this, and when I talked about it before, as far as removing a belt from its early history, it's I think the TNT title is completely unpredictable now. That works for me, feeling like it can change at any time. I think, just the calls for Miro are just I'm all right, cool. I'm Sammy Guevara has had 4 times as many great matches as Miro did with the title. If it feels different or bigger to you, I'm not going to argue with you about that. But I've enjoyed the TNT title pretty much now as I ever have.
I think that I'm not really sweating it because it's I feel like they'll stabilize eventually. But it does feel a bit okay, so Samuel's the champion the week before Christmas. He loses it to they lose it to Cody. Cody gives it back to Sammy. Sammy loses it to Scorpio. Sammy wins it from Scorpio. Scorpio gets it back, and it's all right. So I saw somebody. I think it was Reg. I think Reg was talking about this belt's had 49 title defenses and had X number of reigns, and it's relax. I'm yeah. But I think the complaint that most people have now is the part where it's almost all these goddamn reigns have been in the last 6 months or 4 months. So I think that just it'll stabilize and it'll be fine. I'm not sweating it, but because as you mentioned, it's been swapped between 3 people. It's not the end of the world, but it's
bro, I remember when the Intercontinental title dove off a cliff in 1999. This ain't that.
Yeah. But at the same time, I'm not really concerned about what WWE is doing, and I understand your point is the people that are criticizing this are the people that aren't acknowledging and are coming from a place of bad faith. But for me, just all right, I understand what you're doing, and at least it's had a reason of it facilitated the double turn, so whatever. Mm-hmm. But now that we're past that. Can Scorpio please hold on to this fucking title for a couple months? I don't need to see another title change every 3 weeks on average. So yeah, like aside from
you
that,
got to put some guys down too. I think
that's what I'm getting at.
Like actual like guys. Like and I
if
think
they want to
like,
push him, sure. If they don't, then like what the fuck, sure. Like get it off him.
Because I'm like if you want to give him the good hand army like you did for Sammy or whatever, like while he still delivered or whatever in those matches, I'm like, all right, you know, like if I pull up the roster as I'm prone to do, right? Like, can I count on Scorpio Sky beating? Like, how many people can I count on him? Like, you know, getting a win over? So, like people that are heels that are out there that have like name value. Like, can I count on him? Like, say he runs into Jericho or something. Can I count on him beating Chris Jericho? I don't know if I can.
Well, how about this? Right before he became the TNT champion, if I told you it was going to be babyface Scorpio Sky versus Lance Archer, are you picking him over Lance Archer? Because I wouldn't have.
I don't know. Only because Archer is like a monster of the month type person. So maybe.
And if Scorpio Sky's not the champion, he's like the baby face that like gets fed to the monster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have to look at the roster, but I feel like they got to make a statement with this. Like they did what they did. Like they have a chance to give him someone or give him like a row of bodies, like how, you know, they were like, yo, we've got you know, we got these people lined up for Heyman to ensure that, you know, he's gonna be looked at in a certain way. It's like, all right, like I want to see the heels that are around, like, you know, like what's Adam Cole doing? Adam Cole can come over here and lose the Scorpio Sky. Like,
Adam
would they
Cole's
do
not
that?
Scorpio Sky.
I don't know.
I know
like,
they're not doing that.
So it's like, what are we doing? Like, are we gonna go with Frankie? Like, and then like, are we doing? I don't know, man. Like, so like, and I think that's on TK. That's not on Scorpio. So like, it's like, hey, do you want the belt to be a big deal or not? Like, or do you want to just be like, oh, okay, yeah, it's you know, they'll put it on in the main events and it's cool.
So
but
my question for you is this, right? How long can they hold off people like Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy, Swerve? How long can they hold those people off before they get to that?
I would say a minimum of 2 months, 3 months. Like, and you know, you look at all the influx of people. Everyone wants. Remember, they were trying to give Sammy Guevara's TNT title away the second he got it, just to every new person that comes in the door or whatever. And it's like,
and I think is Dave Meltzer still tiring. Is Dave Meltzer still trying to get Danielson the TNT title for some strange reason?
I think he's like eased off of that.
Okay,
but like that's another thing. It's like, all right, do you want to put it on like one of the people that are just not the world champion? Like, you can do that as well. But like, there's going to be a demand for people, like, and maybe it's a function of how people watch wrestling. They only watch it through the prism of titles, which to me feels like a pretty limiting construct personally. But they have so many people. Like, there's got to be something that goes around, I think, just to pacify that feel. So, like, I don't know. Like, if they started booking this thing to where, like, Scorpio Sky is not going to drop the belt till Full Gear and shit, it's like, bro, there's so many people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that's feasible either.
Oh, yeah, it is. That's definitely not happening. That'd be wild.
So, like,
that'd be wild.
They'd be like, yeah, man, he's going to run with this shit for like it's the ECW Television Championship or something like that. So, like, you know, I think that's why it's kind of good to have those ROH belts in the mix, like to kind of like, you know, you buffer with those shits, like maybe. But, you know, I think people should be conscious of what they're saying. Like, it's not the 24/7 title.
Yeah, that's hyperbole. It's ridiculous.
But we had Rampage as well. So we had Swerve and Darby. And I felt like we got a great chapter 1 out of it. It was like an intro on the album where it wasn't a real song or whatever, but they just jumped on the beat for like a minute and a half and was like, oh yeah, get ready or whatever. And then like they did the distraction finish. with Darby using his leg pick roll up move to beat Swerve.
I keep forgetting
round
what the name
one.
of it is.
I forget the name of it, but Ricky Starks kind of distracted Swerve, like kind of got in the way. The work before that, they were going nuts at the beginning of this, and then I don't know, man. Do a clean finish. Personally, I guess it rolls into Starks and Swerve, kind of continuing outside of it. But I'm like, I would have liked a clean finish, but
yep, same here. I would like to see them have a real match. But still a very good match. I wouldn't go great, but very good match for the time it was given. And I was deflated by that finish with Starks coming off commentary to walk up there and Swerve caught the good old fashioned NXT distraction finish.
Yeah, I gotta tell him to be more aware of that. Hey, if they try to distract you, just focus on the opponent. So I guess when you're in there, it's different. So
easier said than done.
All right. So Swerve was really over. Darby was really over. So what do you expect? After that, we got Jade Cargill and the Baddies against Will Nightingale, Sky Blue, and Trish Adora. I had heard someone point out that Red Velvet and Sky Blue have to fight forever, literally, in this promotion. They need to be like Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Red versus Blue, Bloods versus Crips, something like that. So forever is on. This is a nice little match. It didn't go too long, but we got the entrance with the baddie section. Eventually they're gonna get matching gear. I'm sure that's gonna be a cool thing when it happens. But I like the team.
It was a squash. It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm trying not to get fined or fired.
But we own the shit. So, you good. You good. There is no fine.
It's a lot of talent in the ring, man. A lot of talent.
Yeah. We got Keith Lee versus Colton Gunn. Keith Lee fucked him up. Not really much more to say there.
It was it was weird. It was like a squash that went through a commercial break.
Right.
So it was I have to fucking give this a rating. I don't want to give this a rating. Fine. Fuck. Here. Take this 2.25 and leave me alone. I don't want to rate this. It's a squash. I had to go through a commercial break. Ew.
So we had Samoa Joe versus Trent for the ROH TV title. Of course, they're in Philadelphia. They made a big deal about Trent never winning any belts in Ring of Honor previously. This was pretty solid. Samoa Joe continues to impress me a lot more than he has of recent vintage, I would say. Mm-hmm. And I think if your early returns on Samoa Joe are you're over the moon if you're Tony Khan with him.
Yeah, probably. How do you have the time on this match?
I don't.
Okay. Well, anyway, another good match. Trent is very good. Joe is very good, and they had a very good match, and it was fun. More competency. This wasn't some super blowaway match. This was some great match. It was a very good match for the Ring of Honor TV title, and then at the end they Lethal and Singh and Duck came out to go start some ruckus, and Best Friends got in the way, which is interesting. And then after the match, the Code of Honor stuff, they shook hands after the match. After Joe choked out Trent, and Singh, rips apart the Best Friends, and then next thing you know, you get Lethal and Joe in the ring, and there's a pull apart with Geeks, and you see Pat Buck out there trying to helping him break.
Bro, The Pat Buck shit is so
It made me laugh.
They put that man on TV just to flex.
Yeah. And you know, they're breaking up and they see him getting back to each other, and Lethal keeps yelling, I hate you, and they cut off, they go off air, and it was nicely done. I wonder what this Samoa Joe best friends thing is going to be, because like you see that they're now about to make an odd couple thing with Danhausen and
Hook.
So it's like you put him over there and that'll work because of just the sheer absurdity, right? So like with the
Hookhausen.
Right. So with the other guys, it's like, all right, like you can do that more like they're working with Joe against like Lethal, Dutton, Singh, and whoever else they come up with, and that was fine. But it's like if Danhausen had been there, it'd been like, what the fuck is Danhausen gonna do? So yeah, like it, you know, the Ring of Honor stuff is they're putting that into play now. So it's starting to see where that stuff's going to spread out to.
That will be AEW for this week, but James, I guess there's only one thing left to do. It's time to hit the music.
All right, so Stardom Cinderella Tournament Final, 2022. This pay-per-view was a very, very good show. I might be soft hating, going just short of saying it was great, but it was at worst, it was a very, very good show. I thought that there were two must-see matches on the card. I thought that it was surrounded by nothing but just competency and very good matches for the time. Matches got up and down. Like even the pre-show was a 3-star match. Like it was just up and down, good wrestling all night. So going through it, Rich, what all did you see on this show?
I've seen everything except the main event.
Okay, but you know the finish.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So, pre-show match is Ami and Mai and Waka. And
Waka.
Like, it's had a good match, and Ami is just out here like, you know, chopping them down. Ultimately, Mai tries to get her crucifix pin on Ami. No, nothing doing. Waka, you know, still mad about the defection from Mai from Cosmic Angels 2. Nando Mondo beats up on Mai, gets her out the ring, and then she goes with Ami. She can't last with Ami. Ami ends up putting her down. She gets to win. And then you get to the main card. Future title match, Hanan versus her sister Hina. And man, Hanan versus the Hanan twins, like that would be a feud of the year contender in the women's division in America. Like it would be like 3.25 solid ass wrestling up and down, and it's like I know that like we could get this on a consistent basis here. It's just like there's no real place for this, or just like consistent good ass wrestling and hard hitting and all that kind of stuff. And it's not like flipping and flying, and it's just like simple basic wrestling. Like I know that's somewhere around here, and I know there's places that do that. I'm not trying to disparage it, but it's like just to see like Hanan every pay-per-view come out in the opener at 17 years old, wrestling, you know, a 28-year-old home ec teacher, wrestling a 15-year-old, wrestling another 15-year-old, wrestling another 17-year-old. It's just, and always having a good match. Always. It's just fun to see.
There are a few safer bets in wrestling than Hanan just being rock solid at the beginning.
Yeah. At this point, yeah. And like, these aren't some super long matches. It's like some they're always like these 7-8 minute things. They're just fun. and they sell their asses off and they hit the shit out of each other. Just good wrestling. And, like, I do like I am glad that Hina's back. Like, I in the ring anyway, I've always liked Hina more than Rena, even though Rena's more charismatic and more of a shit stirrer. She's just like more technically equipped as far as like getting in and out and trying to like work a submission and stuff. So like, yeah, they're twins and obviously they're fraternal twins, but like they have different games and all kind of stuff. So like, it's gonna be interesting to see like where these three sisters go if they all stick up with this. It's like all of them are going to be at worst very fucking good because they're already having good matches. Just relying on themselves. So, next match, the first semifinal, Hazuki versus Kaguma. In this match, yes, and this match was so goddamn good. Like, this match the kind of good was like, I can't get away with giving this 3 3/4, can I? In 6 minutes, can I get away with that? Can I? I'll just give it 3.5. I'm not trying to hear nobody say I'm some Stardom mark, even though I am. But whatever, I'm not going to do it. But it was so damn good. And Kaguma starts off with the bear posing stuff. Hazuki, it's like, I'm never doing it. Stop it. Knock it off. Hazuki starts just wearing her ass out, and then Kaguma keeps coming back with flash pins. Hazuki seemingly has the match in control, and she goes and goes for a code breaker, and then Kaguma turns a code breaker by front flipping forward before impact and turns into a jackknife cover just to win. I love this fucking finish. I loved it. Like, we talk about what we just saw with FTR in their match, and like, the Bret Hart wrestling and high speed wrestling, and like the being able to beat somebody with a cradle that doesn't feel contrived and feel like it was an earned victory. This was that. And they did this in 6 minutes, and it was a lot of high speed elements, but it didn't feel like an actual high speed match. It felt like a competitive, fully formed match in like 6 minutes, where like at the end, no one had to go to levels of desperation to be bested and finished, but someone finished the match with skill and guile and craft in deftness, and I thought it was great. And like, I did like the part where like we were under no illusion that Hazuki was going to turn heel on her friend of, because she lost the match she was supposed to win. It was just like, oh, you got me. All right, congratulations, go win the fucking thing. I really enjoyed the hell out of this match. I really did.
Yeah, this was cool. I was impressed by Hazuki, just like the way she flew around the ring in this. That really stood out. And if you're gonna basically get Kaguma ready for the final, they were gonna keep both of these matches like relatively short, and we're gonna get to the next one in another minute or so. But this is how you do it. Like James said, it was just like at the end, I was like, oh, okay, like this is cool. And I popped for the upset, for the quote unquote upset.
Same.
I don't think either of us, or I don't know. I think we picked. Oh no, I think we picked Hazuki and Mariah. I think I picked Mariah to win. But yeah. This was. I love the bear. So
yeah.
Bear time, Biff.
So next match, Natsupoi versus Mariah. In Natsupoi is what, 5'0", 4'11", maybe like $110, and Mariah is like 5'4", probably like 130 pounds.
They got Natsupoi listed at 4'11", 103.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Damn, that was wildly like close. That was scarily close. So just, she's so much bigger than her, and then like at scale, when it's like 4 inches, when it's like 6 foot versus 6'4" looks on TV looks big, but like at scale, when it's like 4 inches, and like these people are 5'4" and 5 foot, like, or sorry, 5'4" and 4'11", it looks even more like of a difference. It was like 6 inches of height difference opposed to, and man, like that's why I didn't give a fuck about none of that. She took this fucking match and just like, I'm going to get the heat on you. I don't give a shit how much bigger and stronger you are than me and taller. I'm gonna wear your ass out, and you have to work from underneath in my match to get you over. And it fucking worked. Yeah. The Riot's fighting back from underneath. She just holding on, and she is able to get she ends up, after getting her arm hurt, she ends up hurting Natsupoi arm, and she keeps like going back to that chopping that tree, and the tree being the arm, not the leg this time, but keeps going back to the arm. And then eventually she's able to get her she ends up getting a hoverboard lock, and then eventually she ends up getting her Mariah, I'm sorry, I forgot what she called. It's spelled like Mare, but it's Mira Murray, I think, something like that is how it's pronounced. But like her finish, like basically like a Kimura variation, and like man, like Natsupoi had no choice but to tap out, and like I was like, wow, okay, they're really doing this. Like they're going to presumably make Mariah the Cinderella. That's crazy. Like they're really pushing her, and that is really cool. So.
Man, I guess I was going to say, like, well, we might as well wait until, I guess we'll wait, like, later in the show.
But what do you think of the Natsupoi and Mariah match?
This was cool. Like, another, like, solid, like, match, leading up, like, going up on an incline for this show. Like, it wasn't, I think they can have a better match, obviously. Like,
it was like 8-minute thing or whatever.
It was, like, it didn't go too crazy or anything, but it wasn't, like, some standout match either. Like, it was perfectly fine.
I thought it was very good, and that's it. I'm not writing home about it or whatever else. So, after that, then you get the multi-person gauntlet match, 16 gauntlet match. A lot of shit, a lot of people in. Stars ends up starting out with I can't remember. So I think Stars ends up starting out with the Momo in Momo team. Momo ends up beating them, or maybe it was not Cosmic Angels. Cosmic came out last. I can't remember.
Bro, I'm always confused when these gauntlet matches happen.
Basically, at the end, you end up getting Dom Del Mondo, who came in second to last, versus Cosmic Angels, who came in last, and it comes down to Tam and Julia, and Tam gets Julia outside on the floor, and like Julia, she hugs the post to hide from Tam. And then Tam comes over the top over the corner and tries to kick her off and try to nudge her off. And then she extended herself so much over the top turnbuckle that Julia grabs her by the ankle and then comes to the apron and basically pulls her over the top rope to the floor. And then they trade a little bit on the exchange strikes a little bit on the apron. Julia hits her with a big knee, and then she goes to hit her with a glorious driver. Tam basically floats over, gets behind her, hits her with a German suplex, and Julia melts off the apron to the floor. So Tam is getting the win. She celebrates with Cosmic Angels, and then they said the promo was some of the lines of we've done a lot of losing. Without saying because of Waka, but we've done a lot of losing, but you stuck with us, and keep believing in us, and we're going to turn this thing around. And then
a new gang emerges.
Yes, another faction. Colors comes out. Colors is what's left of at-risk girls after they close shop for professional wrestling, right? So. So there's 4 of them. So the leader name is Saki, just Saki. I think she's been around since 2012. She's their number 1. I haven't seen her wrestle before. I heard she's very good. She's going to be in Nomads. That whole I have to tell you about Nomads. She's going to be in Nomads. So if they picked her out, to be in it, I'm assuming that she's very good. Basically, anyway, in the Joshi scene, what's going on, like, similar to Prominence, except it's not a deathmatch unit. It's like, we'll come in, you can book 4 of us for a certain rate or whatever else, and you can, now be able to book a card promotion, like, so it's like a, that's very appealing, as opposed to, like, now we gotta call like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different people, as opposed to, like, you call one person, you have 4 talents, right? So, like, they've been doing Ice Ribbon, trying to think where else have they been. I know Ice Ribbon for sure. And they're also, a few of them are going to be on New Blood 2. So, like, they're in for now. They come out, Saki says, hey, nice to meet all of y'all. We would like a match. So, naturally,
the assessor,
Unagi, says, who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are y'all? And then you got to see the translation.
Just getting over learning who Kyrie is.
Right.
This rookie, this new person that she had
business. So, Rich, you got to see the translation on Stardom World. The translation is, after she says, who the hell are you? She says, I am Unagi Sayaka. I am the gatekeeper. I am the gatekeeper. And then she says something along the lines of, like, we are the gatekeepers of pro wrestling or whatever else. So, like, obviously, when you're at Rest Girls or whatever else, and you were in, colors instead of beginning, they treat, a lot of people look at you as, like, you're not a real wrestler, you have to prove yourself, which is, like, that's what all of them had to do. That's what Tam, that's what Unagi, that's what Mina all had to do, is prove that they're a real wrestler. So it's like, if you want to see yourself a real wrestler, it's like, you gotta come see us, more or less. So, the agreement more or less between, so Mina gets on the mic, and Mina was like, well, you some new trainees. So how about when we beat you, you become our trainees? And then Mina said, but you'll have to dance. And then Mina counts down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they start dancing and a little shimmy, not some elaborate dance, but more like, just move your hips a little bit. And then, 3 of the 4 in colors, they're down with that. But one of them, and we'll get to the one that didn't in a second, she was like, I don't want to do that. And then they like, shut up. So, like, obviously they're being mean, get a little heat. And they're like, well, that's fine. Well, if if we win, if Colors wins, then, like, you'll have to be our new attendees, I think, something along those lines. So they go to picky swear about, having a match, and then Unagi bites, I think it's Rena, bites Rena's hand, and, like, just like, yeah, bitch, you're so
hollering when I saw that shit.
It's funny. She's goofy. It's funny. And they all look at her like, you bit her? She's like, yeah, I did that. I don't care. I'll do it again. So Tam and Saki, they pinky promise that they're going to have a match. And then at the end, the one that didn't want to dance, her name is Hikari Shimizu. She walks up to Tam and she tries to get a pinky promise from her. Tam's like, nope. And then Tam, like, touches her face, and then, like, she starts crying. And then, like, Tam whispers something to her ear and then pushed her away. And in my mind, when you talked about, like, the marks are in the ring, like, when she pushed her away, I thought, like, she probably said, stop whispering in her ear, stop being a mark, and then pushed her away. But, so, come to find out, when young Hikari started wrestling, she was a singer that moved to Tokyo. She had no dance background. She's just a singer. That's why she didn't want to dance. Right. And somebody that was a wrestler that's retired now in Act Rest Girls basically, like, invited her to one of the shows and said, hey, how about you try this out? And when she was at the show, she saw is come full circle and it's so funny. She saw Tam like in her like 10th match versus Kaoru Ito like destroyed Tam. Now Kaoru is like, I've seen her a few times. Like I've seen her have matches with like I've seen some of her matches with Manami Toyota. I really like those matches. I think I sent one like just randomly to you last week, right? Had no idea about this till the other day about how like this match now influences one woman, and she ended up joining because she was inspired by Tam, that she had this kind of heart to get a beating from this All Japan Women's Wrestler, and her debut match was against Tam. So like she got in the ring and like Tam basically left a few months after she debuted to go to Stardom, and like now she's in she's here now, and like she sees Tam this inspiration, and she started breaking out crying. She's Tam, and I was like, the Tam influence, man, it's a thing. Get into it. But yeah, like apparently she's a good wrestler, and I heard Saki's very good at least. So I'm interested to see what how the other two do. I don't know which two are in the New Blood shows, but I got to check that out to see, because that's on the that's like next week when that happens on the 13th, I think. So, but anyway, okay, so I botched and completely omitted the Azumi versus Mei Suruga high speed match on the live stream of the show, and as I was editing the show at 1:15 a.m., I thought to myself, oh my god, I forgot about this match. This match was fucking awesome. I can't just let this shit slide. Rich happened to be awake still. He's probably, I don't know, watching Inside the NBA, watching Shaq and Charles shenanigans before he goes to bed. And I texted him or messaged him and said, hey, I totally forgot this match. He said, shit. So he ended up messaging me his response or his thoughts on the match, and gave me a quick paragraph, and I'll read it out to you guys. He says, Azumi and Mei Suruga inadvertently kicked off a weekend of people packing up Disco Inferno's life and career on Twitter with their fast movements and risk taking. I love the creativity of their work outside the ring as much as their work in it. Azumi often looks so far ahead of her contemporaries that I was pleasantly surprised to see Mei Suruga turn in the best performance I've seen of hers and not get outshined. This match is a good example of what playing nice between two promotions can be. 4 1/4. This match had a lot of things in it that, for my personal taste, I do not like in general. And during this match, they did things that made me roll my eyes, that the crowd popped to. And then they went down the closing stretch, and it was so well done, so fast, so quick. And the near falls were just so like blowing me away, and I'm thinking like that's the end, and they kick out the next thing, the next flash finisher or flash pin, that I said to myself, all right, damn, like there's things in this match I do not like that I know other people like more than me, and I still think this match might be 4.5 fucking stars. God damn, they're good. So I was in the 4 1/3 type of thing, and then I saw the way people rated on Cage Match throughout the past couple days. So like I was in that borderline thing of 4 1/4 plus. I think I might have to rewatch it and bump it up to 4.5. But May, this is the best match I've ever seen May have. I've seen May before, and like I'm not a person that thinks she's some crummy wrestler that doesn't wrestle on the ring, so therefore she's not good. Nah, she's damn good. How good, I just didn't know. But her wrestling in a non-traditional setting has her doing things that, like, I think the average person that wrestled in a ring doesn't really think of. And I think that's really cool to add a lot to her game that makes her stand out. Obviously, she's super charismatic. She's loud as hell. But we already knew that. But I think it was really cool for her to get that like spot in the number one Joshi promotion in her country, to let people know, like, I do this. Like, you may think I do this wacky stuff or whatever else, and yeah, I do some of that stuff, whatever else. But like, when it comes down to it, I can get in this fucking ring and throw it in, and show my ass and wrestle as smoothly and as crisply as just about anyone in the game. She's great. I think that, like, it is funny to see that, like, she kind of did get blown up by Azumi, but Azumi is rarefied air at this point as far as talent. I want to see him have another match. I know Azumi said that she wanted to tag with her. I'm cool with that too. It kind of reminds me of Azumi wanting to tag with Meiho Shizuki last year. I thought this match was great, even though at times it annoyed me at times, but whatever. The match was that good that it won me over. Right? Was it the Who's into making the Grinch's small heart grow 3 times size or whatever else, or 10 times size? Like, this match did that to me. I thought it was fantastic. So I had to punch in and let y'all know that, like, I thought this was the best match of the show. To be quite honest with you. And granted, like, that Azumi, the red belt title match, the main event, I thought was fantastic, and I thought Himeka had the best match of her career. But, like, it's just something to be said about, like, just being able to do that in the in like the physical toll and endurance it takes to be able to wrestle at that high of a level for that long, at that speed and pace. So I was really impressed by Mei and Azumi again. And Azumi, like, this is her second title defense. She won the match in an absolute banger. She won her triple threat match with Natsupoi and Himeka, and now she has this. Like, I don't know where she goes from here, but sign me up for more of her in, like, high positions on these cards, on, I guess, BNC pay-per-views, because I guess you could say the same pay-per-view, but, like, showcase in the spot where, like, she can have a defense like this. Like, she's special. She's special. Like, I've long ago said that I thought she's gonna be the best women's wrestler in the world by the time she was 24, and, like, now she's in a position where she can have these matches. Like, it seems like it's coming sooner and sooner than I even expected back then. Just an incredible talent, incredible athlete. Person that was right place, right time to do all this, put together, like, just perfect storm for high speed wrestling. And, like, I know who she patterned herself after, like Natsuki Taiyo, and, like, she's gonna fuck around and be as good as Natsuki Taiyo at this rate. Like, she's just unbelievable. I just had to punch in and let y'all, hear that. And, if you missed it on, or if you listen to the stream and listen to this and wonder what the hell happened, that's what it was. So sorry about that. So I'll get back to the show. Moving to the Cinderella final. It is Kaguma versus Mirai, and
victory lap time.
Yeah. The bear got some heat on Mirai, and then Mirai basically said, like, nah, it's my time.
1, 2, 3, we don't give a fuck about none of that.
Yeah, she just a whole bunch of heart, everything, and ended up getting the win. I really liked the match. Like, obviously, it wasn't as good as last year's Cinderella final, but speaking of Cinderella finals that I've seen, is better. I feel like this is better than the one that from 2019. I feel like it's better than the one from 2020. But it was a very good match. And Mirai ultimately it ends up winning with like a spinning Michinoku driver. I don't know what she calls it, but, like, it's flashy and it's fun. And, like, she's a kick-ass power wrestler, man. She just really is.
Hey, man. I think people just gotta get ready, because the Mariah push is starting, and it's like you got to get down or lay down, man.
And people are. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you looked at the cage match rating and see people hate like why did Hazuki lose? Why did Natsupoi lose? Like it's like, hey man, like that's not. We can't push everybody all the goddamn time at the same time. I'm sorry. And like she came in, they're going with her, and like gotta say. Compared to the other pushes I've seen in Stardom, this is not nearly as, as bad as the stuff, or as bad in quotation marks, right? Like, y'all wasn't living that, y'all wasn't here for the Julia life. Y'all just weren't in 2020. Y'all weren't here for that. Y'all weren't here for when Donna Del Mondo wasn't dropping falls, when Shuri, Micah, and Julia wasn't dropping falls until Grand Prix, and they showed up in January. What are we talking about?
A lot of Mariah discourse going on, and
she's over.
Yeah,
she shows up to the matches, the crowd's clapping her and clapping to her music, and clapping in the cadence of her music when the music's not playing.
I'm not going to take that route. I'm going to say like I didn't know who Mariah was before she came to Stardom, and yes, I'm a novice.
Right.
Feel free to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about or anything. But in the matches that I've seen of hers, they've just always been impressive. Each of them. They threw in the deep end with Shuri, and we should have known then. It was like, it was like 4.5 or 4.25 or whatever. And I think she's just been very consistent and solid through every appearance of hers that I've seen. And I think it's just, would I have liked to see Starlight Kid possibly win something like this? Sure.
Yeah.
But if there's anyone that has a track record of pushing the right person, I feel like of late, it's fucking Rossi. He fucking picks fucking Saya Kamatani. And that shit ends up working out. He picks Utami and that shit works.
Julia.
Shuri. Fucking, he knows what he's doing, man.
Picked Hoshiki.
Yeah, going further back. Yeah, it's it's gonna
picked
be
Momo
fine.
when Io was leaving. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be fine. I promise.
How much more does this company have to grow from quarter to quarter for y'all to stop acting like these are mistakes? I understand it's not the end all be all, but it's this roster is insanely loaded. You can literally pick any of 15 people to be on top. Oh, that might be too far. Let's say 12 or 13. Right. You pick any of a dozen people to be on top as a white belt champion, as a red belt champion, at any given time. Everybody is that overqualified, and they're going out here and be at top in the main event, some main event positions, and have kick-ass matches. And then what after 9 months? You just want everybody to be like a 4-time champion? Now, I've seen people talk about the pay your dues thing or whatever else, and it's sure. But if it was the other way around, she came in and she was a number 3 on the roster just doing jobs, why would anybody want to come here anymore? I just paid my dues.
Part of this is recruiting.
I just paid my dues for 2 or 3 years in Tokyo Joshi Pro and got fucking nowhere. Or, no, not 3 years. 2 years, it got nowhere. Now I gotta go somewhere else and sit? Might as well fucking stay. If I gotta start all over again, look, man, they've given her the ball, she's ran with it and picked up a whole lot of yardage for what they've given her. I ain't mad at her, right? If you had asked me, I would have preferred that Natsupoi Hazuki won. But if any of these 4 had won, I've been okay with it because all 4 of them would have been good choices.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the downside, especially with Mariah's body of work that she's had in just this short period of time. So if you want to try to get somebody else up and running, because it's always about Like we know how this promotion works, and motherfuckers would be here today, and then you're gone, like UGK says.
Right. Yeah. So I didn't get it. The people that like don't like her push, whatever else, because this is nothing compared to like this is nothing compared to what was happening with Utami and Julia and Shuri. Nothing. Like, Julia has literally beaten everyone that's ever like gotten a pinfall over her. Like the 6 times it's ever happened. She's been around with the company for over 2 years now. They have 100 and something matches every year. Like, what are you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, I thought it was a great performance, and like she's super over, and the crowd is clapping for her and all that kind of stuff. And Mariah Manning is a thing. We're here.
Had to get Mariah in the dress.
Yes. So she we'll just add this now. Like after the red belt match, she comes out and she gives her speech. She literally says, like, I've been doing this for like 2 years, and like this is the first like award I've ever won for wrestling. And she talked about like she wanted to make it to the top, and she said like she was gonna, like, she felt like where she was at, she had a glass ceiling, but now like she can do it. She could do more now, right? And it's like, oh, okay,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there you go. And then like, you know, it's interesting like to listen to Red Leaf Retrocast and talk, and you know, hear JD talk about it. Is like before their Sumo Hall show was like the princess champion was Miyu, the international princess champion was Maki, the tag champions were Yuka and Mizuki. It's like, oh, these are all the same exact champions with the same exact belts from like 3 years ago, or from 2020 or 2019. Like, you just looped all the way around. And like, even with like Mina here, there and gone, Unagi there and gone, Nasipoi there and gone, like Mariah was still like this promising rookie that like was gonna have to eat shit for like 2 years or 3 years before she ever got to like a mid-card status. Like, you know, like I don't have much to say on Tokyo Joshi Pro and their booking philosophy, because like they're successful given, you know, what they're working with, right? But it's like not everybody, like, I know it's a thing in Joshi, like not everybody needs to be a young girl for basically 3 years before they ever go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, like when people, you know, complain about these pushes, it's like, well, compared to what? Compared to most wrestling you watch, or most wrestling around here, or just compared to Joshi?
Interesting,
like, bro, like,
things to consider.
Yeah, like if this is AJW, like Utami would still be a fucking young girl. She would still be in the fucking swim trunks. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, like,
I understand we're talking about like a different level of athlete and everybody's 6 foot or 5'6" and all that shit. Whatever. Like, really, she was capable of this, and you just, you know.
Yeah, man. If somebody can carry it, like, I think you gotta like I can understand if Mariah was stinking this bitch out, like, and it was just like some thing that she wasn't over or anything like that. Like, nah, man. Like,
she's doing everything you ask somebody that gets a push to do.
Yeah. So
yeah. So
relax. Right.
So so in the comments, I would have pushed Poi to the moon if I was Tokyo Joshi Pro. She's amazing. Rich, you've heard me say this multiple times about that. Like, I don't understand how the fuck she can get a push if she was a mid-carder in Tokyo Joshi Pro. I don't get it. Whatever. Maybe it's because she was an outsider. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So
title match.
Yeah. I'm reading the comments, and he said, I don't want to flip it up the chat, but Julia has only been pinned like 6 times. No. Shuri's only been pinned like 6 times. Julia's been pinned more. Like, I could count it. I went through it, like, when we were doing, Sumo Hall shows, like, back-to-back shows. Like, I went through it in, like, cause I remember, like, she's been more protected than Julia has, and it went through it as like, this is her chance to avenge her only 2 like losses or real defeats that she had. It wasn't like some over the top, thrown over the top rope shit that like she couldn't answer. And actually, like, there's only one like time she's ever been thrown over the top rope that she wasn't able to answer for it. It was like Natsuko in some match. Like, I went through this shit with a fine tooth comb. Anyway, main event, Shuri versus Himeka, and Himeka came to play. Himeka, I talked about in the preview, like, depending on how good this match goes, she has a chance to change her trajectory in the company or in promotion. And like, yeah, she went out there and she wrestled as if she knew this. Right? Like, it's very similar to like when you heard Dean Ambrose.
One Nation Radio listener Himeka, possibly.
Nah, man. Like, remember when Dean Ambrose, John Moxley cut his that interview with, I think it was Wade Keller, Jericho, when he talked about like the Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania 32. He's like, I went to that match knowing it was the biggest match of my career, and I had to, pull out a bunch of stops to try to get this match over. And like, you talked about how Brock was hard to, to get ideas through to or whatever else. It was like, she realized like, this is the biggest match of my career. She went in there and, typical Shuri start, ground mat wrestling, whooped her ass, get her up, wrestling, whooped her ass, got out to the floor, went to, hit a move, went to hit another move, and Himeka counters it, a big move that laid out Shuri, and then Shuri's on the defensive from the rest for a good stretch, and then they go back and forth, and ultimately, like, the match came down to like, if Himeka hits a second power bomb, is Shuri done? So she goes for one. Shuri hurricanrana out of it to a Rana cradle. Then eventually she got her with it, and she kicked, and like, it's just like, Shuri is like, when it's looking like it's bleakest, she comes out and she saves the day, and she ends up putting away Himeka, and with her one wing Emerald Flosion, and like, they should be proud of themselves. Like, this match was really important for Himeka. Himeka jumping off the top rope she came off the top rope and hit a floor dive. She came off the top rope and hit a big knee that I don't know how she didn't tear her ACL on the landing. But then again, it's like, you watch her, how she bumps everywhere else, and it's like, I know how she didn't. Like, she's just like ridiculously like, hypermobile and flexible, and like, oh my God, somebody's went for alley-oop, dunked the ball, and then lost hold of the rim and like fell on their head. Oh, that had to hurt. But anyway, rough transition back. But like, Himeka is bumping for Shuri, and like, like, she's bumping like she's Natsupoi, except she's like 10 inches taller than her, or whatever, roughly 10 inches taller. And it's like, it's so impressive to see her, and like, you start seeing like the, clubs versus kicks, sections, important exchanges, whatever else. It's just really fun. And, like, really happy that Himeka came through like this, and really, really glad they had this kind of match. And at the end of the match, Shuri said, I know we're in different units, but like, I'm looking forward to seeing you grow, in the future. And like, Himeka came out with new gear and all that kind of stuff. She pulled out all the stops and bells and whistles for this one. Like, she really went out here and wrestled like this was the match of her life, and just couldn't get the W because Shuri's that goddamn awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out. That was the only one I didn't get a chance to see yet, but excited to hear it went well.
Yeah. So this Thursday, pay-per-view in Fukuoka. The main event and semi-main event are, 3 Fukuoka acts challenging for the belts. White belt match, it is Kamatani, the main event, versus Maika, who's from Fukuoka. And then some main event is tag team titles, Momo and Kid versus Hazuki and Kaguma, trying to get their tag titles back. I imagine one of those acts is coming with them belts. I wonder who it is. I think for me personally, I would rather be, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I would not be beating the hometown people, both times to get out of there. But
yeah,
I don't want to be beating, Kamatani either. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see though. We'll see what happens though.
So I didn't know if you had anything else, but we can wrap the show up with our game.
Oh yeah, that's right. Real quick though. So as customary when it comes to the Cinderella winner, they get a wish. The wish normally is always the form of a title shot. She says that, or Mariah says she wants the winner of Kamatani and Micah. And that'll be on I believe it's the 26th of June. But anyway, yeah, that's Stardom this week. Next week, it's a lot of shows I'm about to cover. Like, it's Golden Week, man. Like, boy.
Bring back the Costume Battle Royal.
Rich, I'm going to send you the link. I want you to see how many matches are in this particular week.
Lothario Negro says Micah's ring gear reminds him of Hiroki Goto from New Japan, so he's just going to assume she's going to lose all her big matches. LMAO.
All right, can you pull that up on the, put that on your screen? I'll put it in Messenger. Sorry, my bad. Micah's ring gears remind you of Goto. Oh, you're talking about like her samurai gear? Yeah, I guess. I'm pretty sure she's gonna have some new gear and it's gonna be fire. But yeah, for Golden Week, Golden Week is fully back. Like, they're back in a way they've never been back before.
Holy shit.
So
1, 2, 3, 4,
6 shows in 8 days.
Yeah, they ain't fucking around.
No. And so Sunday's show was in Hiroshima for Golden Week. Konami's back and she's in God's Eye for this week and this week only. If and when she comes back again, I don't know. I have some guesses that I think because Jungle announced that she's going to be on the summer main event of Hannah's Memorial Show this year, and she has a mystery opponent. I'm going to guess that it's going to be Konami, and they're going to do the Konami Jungle TCS match in tribute to Hannah. Also a curse match in Stardom history because both times they're going to do it the 2019 Grand Prix. Jungle separated her shoulder. They set up, the heel turn on Konami turning on Jungle, and then the next day she tears her ACL. So they never actually got that match. So I think it's possibility they're gonna finally have that match, and it's gonna be at the Hannah, Memorial Show. But ultimately, we don't know when she'll be back after this week, but she's gonna be here this week, for these basically, I guess 6 shows. So. It's going to be fun. She's going to be with Shuri. She's not in Oedo Tai right now. She's in God's Eye, and that's going to be fun. So I don't know what she's doing on the pay-per-view, but I'm sure they'll come up with something for her.
Right.
Yeah, but that's, as far as starting, that's all I got. It's going to be a lot of shows. Shit ton of shows.
Yeah, man. So, we have an exciting new game that we came up with.
One thing. Sorry. Third from the top is Mayu versus Tekla, an SWA title match, which you already know it is.
Alarms are going off.
Yep. The guidance is going to be back, y'all. Get ready. All the people that y'all say y'all don't want to see, y'all better suck that shit up. They gonna be in for a month or two, and they gonna have matches with Mayu and whoever else, and the SWA belt's gonna be back to where it was before, being going between guidance that they trust in their own talent. So be ready for it. And I believe Mayu does that. She becomes a Grand Slam champion, the second ever. Her and Io will be the two.
speaking of Gaijin talent, there was a report, and that's what kind of inspired this game, that Stardom may be interested in working with some wrestlers from AEW, specifically like maybe Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and booking them towards like the end of the year, like kind of into Wrestle Kingdom season.
Yeah, I believe it was they already have a date for their year-end big pay-per-view show. Is December 30th. I don't know if they haven't announced the venue yet. But yeah, that's what they said they want to do, and they're looking at trying to get, Britt or Roseanne.
So I hope it happens. I'd love to see the freakouts. However it goes,
from which side? Stardom side?
Oh yeah, for sure. That'd be much so funny.
Weird. Like, this whole company has been this company stayed afloat, like, from the exodus from like literally from like 2000 after Yoshiko breaks X face. Like, they stayed afloat off the strength of the Gaijins. And now they act like they too good. And now, like, the Stardom fans, I guess, act like they're too good for guys. It's weird. It's really weird.
So they got me thinking. I was like, man, Britt needs to open up the doctor's office, that side. And then I started thinking about, well, what unit would Britt be in? If she was in a unit, we were linking them up. Then I was like, what unit would everyone be in? Pretty much. But what I've done is loaded up the roster for the AEW women's roster. That is. And we're going to go through it just like a good old-fashioned OR game almost. But all we're going to do is assign. I'm going to nominate a name, and then we're going to figure out which unit would fit them best, like in kind of a quick fashion. So we'll go in ABC order. So we'll start with Abaddon.
Oedo Tai.
Oedo Tai. Any reason?
Throw her over there. Whatever.
Throw her over there.
Throw her
Amazing.
over there. Put her over there.
Anna Jay.
I
think she stars.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking more Queen's Quest.
Well, she does call herself the Queen.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that part, but yeah. I'm just going off like the vibe and demeanor in like the outfits.
Look, that the more like obscure reasons we can come up with to assign someone to a unit, the better. I kind of like Queen's Quest better than Stars. We've only seen her once in AEW, but AQA.
AQA, probably Stars in an older sense, like back in the day. She would have had a tour with Stars.
Britt Baker.
Oedo Tai.
I agree wholeheartedly on this one.
Yeah. And yeah, we talked about this last night. Of like, yeah, you just say that, like, Jamie facilitated the like, look out for it. Like, we're gonna send you to Stardom, and he sends you here with my people. So
this is my old folks. They're gonna look out for you.
Yeah.
So we got the Bunny.
Ooh. I could see Donna Del Mondo.
Donna Del Mondo, huh? So when I think of Donna Del Mondo, name who's in Donna Del Mondo for me real quick.
Julia, Micah, Tekla. I could see a Tekla and Bunny tag team of just over the top charisma.
You know what? I don't hate it. Now this is funny. Emi Sakura.
So, Emmy normally or Emmy right now?
I don't know.
Fuck it. Put her in Cosmic Angels.
Nah, man. Emmy ain't about to dance.
You don't think Emmy? Okay.
I don't see the dancing in her.
Yeah, but meanwhile, like, in Donna Del Mondo, you got My Himapoi dancing at every title defense. You had Shuri and Julia dancing at every tag title defense, but the dancing is different than the dancing different than the other dancing. Okay,
yes, because you gotta practice the dancing.
You don't have to practice the dancing
in Cosmic Angels,
right? No, you don't. It's just
you gotta attend practices, and commit your time. You gotta take time away from the wrestling ability, the wrestling training. Mai Sakurai told us this. So
where do you want to put her in? Stars?
I was thinking stars, but she does wear that queen. She does wear that
she's
crown.
She's been a heel of LA. But the thing is this, right? She, because of Got to Move and the zaniness of her last few years in wrestling, I think like she's too stars. She's too into the shenanigans of being Queen's Quest. So yeah, I guess you got to go with stars then.
I'm going Hikaru Shida and going Queen's Quest.
Yeah, I can see that.
Or she can join God's Eye and be actually a God's Eye. Yeah, because she can be with Shuri.
Yeah.
Jade Cargill, she's definitely in Queen's Quest. Bow down to the Queen.
Maybe Donna Del Mondo.
You know what? Jade and Julia does have like kind of a...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
There is kind of a synergy there. I'll go with that. Jamie Hayter, she was with Odeyo Tai before. Yep. I guess we can send her back.
Send her right back. I miss her too.
Kiera Hogan.
I guess we just put her wherever Jay goes, right?
She can join Donna Del Mondo as well. Chris Statlander.
Ooh, see, before she would have definitely been in Stars.
I don't see stars for her right now.
Queen's Quest. I say Queen's Quest.
Queen's Quest for Chris. I'm with it. Eva Bates.
Ooh, Cosmic Angels. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah, she'll definitely do the dancing.
Whatever.
And Layla Hirsch.
Oh, wow. She was in TCS. I'll say Oedo Tai because everybody that was in TCS ended up in, aside from Jungle, ended up in Oedo Tai, so I'll go with that one.
Mercedes Martinez.
Ooh. Man. God's Eye. I'll say God's Eye.
Yeah. You hang out with Mariah. Nyla Rose.
I do not know. Okay, so I'm going to say Oedo Tai because the spirit originally of Oedo Tai came from the roots of Hana Kimura's mom, Kyoko, bringing in foreign heels, like bringing in like Jazzy Gabbard and like I can't remember her name. She was in the 2015 final for the Grand Prix with Kairi. I can't remember her name for saving life of me. But anyway, basically like monster foreign gaijin heels, right? So like, not Nyla fits into that. So I'll go with that historically and say put her in Oedo Tai.
Hey, we've got a request. Actually, Lothario Negra, I'm going to lob up another person who be dancing. So, because we had Kiera Hogan going to DDM automatically, but
we just talked about that. You said Kiera be dancing though. So does Julia, Himeka, Micah, and Natsupoi. It's fine.
So Paige Van Zandt.
Oh, Gazai Shooters, right? That's Shooters Club, right?
Yeah. I feel like she would fit in well with DDM for some reason.
I don't know much of her personality that well to make that kind of judgment. But I'm just going based like ex MMA fighter, put her with Shuri and Mirai.
Penelope Ford.
I think they try to put her in Stars or Cosmic Angels.
I would go with Cosmic Angels for her.
Okay.
Rebel.
Oh, wherever Britt goes.
Oedo Tai.
Yep.
Red Velvet. I'm going Cosmic Angels.
Cosmic Angels, huh?
Yeah.
Sure, why not? I was thinking Stars, like especially like when she was, especially before she, started the baddies thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Riho.
Well, I mean,
Utami's not letting us put Riho anywhere but with her. Queen's Quest.
I can't believe you remember that shit. I was gonna point out, like, she was fabulous for the year and a half she was in Stardom, and had a lot of stars matches or whatever else, a lot of Queen's Quest. But yeah, if you sure put her in Queen's Quest.
Riho's going to Queen's Quest. Shout out to Utami. I'm looking out for you. Ruby
yes,
Soho.
That's true. Riho still has the Queen's Quest match. Unfortunately, she's the only person with match anymore in Queen's Quest.
So we got Ruby Soho.
Ruby and Stars.
Yeah, I agree. Serena Deeb. I think she's got to go to Donna Del Mondo.
I was thinking Queen's Quest, but yeah, sure.
Ty Conti. Like she should be in like God's Eye, kinda.
Yes, she should be. You can go God's Eye. I think you also can go Queen's Quest.
I'll go God's Eye for her.
Okay.
Thunder Rosa. I feel like Thunder Rosa's a Queen's Quester.
She's a Queen's Quest, but she could also be a Cosmic Angel.
Yeah. Interesting combo there. Who else? If there was anywhere else that she could go, what would it be?
I mean, she could also be in Gaza. She's also, trains in MMA.
Yeah,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So
it's true.
Yeah.
So I think we need to come up with we need to look at the personalities on this.
Personalities?
Like who would Thunder Rosa likely get along with?
I mean, she would get along with any of them. Let's see. I mean, she doesn't have an overly bubbly personality from what she portrays on screen. So I would say get no Cosmic Angel from there. So I guess that goes to either God's Eye or Queen's Quest. I guess I'll go with God's Eye then.
Yeah, we'll do God's Eye. Why not? Let's put her with Shuri and figure it out. Toni Storm.
Oh, I mean, wherever the hell she wants to go. She teamed a lot with Stars in 2019, so I'll say Stars.
Works for me. And Yuka Sakazaki.
Oh, Stars.
Stars.
I mean, to be honest, like if it wasn't for the age thing, she'd be a Cosmic Angel. Like that's how over the top bubbly she is. But
Cosmic Angel's got and that's I think the only hold back.
You gotta be at least 29.
Yeah. So we added. So we'll go through it here. So we added Abaddon to Oedo Tai, Anna Jay to Queen's Quest, AQA to Stars, Britt Baker to Oedo Tai, the Bunny to Donna Del Mondo, Emi Sakura to Stars, Hikaru Shida to God's Eye. Wow, Zach's in the comments bugging.
Abaddon to Jay. Send it to a fun promotion or faction.
Jay Cargill to Donna Del Mondo, Jamie Hayter to Oedo Tai, Kiara Hogan to Donna Del Mondo, Chris Statlander to Queen's Quest, Leva Bates to Cosmic Angels, Layla Hirsch to Oedo Tai, God's Eye, Mercedes Martinez, Nyla Rose to Oedo Tai, Paige Van Zant to God's Eye, Penelope Ford to Cosmic Angels, Rebel to Oedo Tai, Red Velvet to Cosmic Angels, Riho to Queen's Quest, Ruby Soho to Stars, Serena Deeb to DDM, Ty Conti to God's Eye, Thunder Rosa to God's Eye, loading up God's Eye. I see.
We are.
Toni Storm and Yuka Sakazaki both to Stars. So who did we shortchange here?
Cosmic Angels.
I feel like we shortchanged Cosmic Angels. So we need to flip a couple of these God's Eyes.
So which ones you got?
I think we got to flip Rosa.
Yeah, okay. Works for me.
So Thunder Rosa has been flipped to Cosmic Angels. And it fits in like the age kind of kind of bracket.
And also, like I think I talked to you about it before. Like Mina and Thunder Rosa used to hang out like outside of just wrestling back when she was in early 2020 in Tokyo Joshi Pro. Like they actually trained together at a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place or whatever. They Thunder Rosa put on her blog at the time. I remember seeing it.
Yep.
So so
that works for me.
Inside connection too. Old
Yep.
homies.
That works for me. But yeah, that was a fun game. So anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah, actually, someone just mentioned in the thing, like, yeah, like she
Nice.
hang out on the blog. Yep. So yeah, that is the end of the show. AEW members of the Stardom faction is funny. That's in the show. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate somewhere app you're using to listen this with. If you are checking out the live stream, make sure to hit us with the bids. Also, hit us up on PayPal or Cash App. And if you are listening over the podcast, go to our Word Circles and drop us off with a donation. And listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, 8-Bit Suplex, the Grave Consequences Podcast, AEW Match Guide, All Things Elite, and Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.